All right, everyone, we are live. It's Saturday, July 7th, 2018. And while I sound chipper, today's topic is rather dark. So, the co creator of Spider Man, Steve Ditko, has passed away at the age of 90. And as you all know, Spider Man is my favorite superhero. So, I saw this news yesterday when I was out at a concert, and I was like, wow, Steve Ditko passed away. And it made me think about his life and comics and Spider Man, my favorite hero. So I thought I'd go live and we would talk about Spider Man. We can share our favorite memories. I got some stuff pulled up that I want to share with you guys. It's going to be a little bit of fun to add some brightness to your weekend. So, hello to everyone who's rolling in. Big turnout so far. I know a lot of people are sad. I haven't heard the news about Stan Lee, Rowdy Ruffian. I will look that up right now. Yes, press F to pay your respects to Steve Ditko. All joking aside, the dude was legend. Now, he wasn't a perfect man. He wasn't everybody's best friend. No one is perfect, but Steve Ditko did a couple of things I disagree with if I was in his situation. But hey, he lived his own life by his own rules, and, he did it the way he did it. So it looks like Stan Lee wants to die, according to Ruffian. So thank you, Rowdy Ruffian. That's kind of sad that Stan Lee wants to die. And when he eventually does pass away, we'll have a memorial for him too to talk about and remember his life, his contributions to not only comics but the world of entertainment overall. I don't think we'd have what we have with comic book movies without Stan Lee. I know we wouldn't. And Steve Ditko created a lot of the elements we all know and love about Spider-Man. And I don't think the guy gets enough credit. So we're going to talk about that in greater detail. So hello to everyone that's wishing me hello and hi. And it's good to be back, guys. I know a couple people have reached out to me. When are you going live in the mornings? I really miss it. Well, I'm back live in the afternoon. I was going to take this whole weekend off to, recharge the batteries and get ready for the big week coming up and the next couple weeks coming up on the channel. But stuff like this happens, and I got to talk about Spider-Man. Come on now. It's I don't know. It's I'm not saddened to tears, but it's sad that I never got to, write that letter to Steve Ditko I always thought about. Plus, as you guys know, I used to be an illustrator, and Spider-Man was the reason I really got into that stuff. So let's pull up something fun to look at on the screen right here. There we go. Here's some of Steve's artwork. And you can see Spider-Man is fighting Elektra. So let's look at the Spider-Man costume for just a moment. That Spider-Man costume was designed in 1962 by Steve Ditko, and it's essentially the same 56 years later, excuse me. Spider-Man has probably had the biggest impact on a lot of people in terms of comic books. Spider-Man is the face of Marvel, has been since Ditko left the book, funnily enough. Steve Ditko started the title, and he did it for the first, 38 issues. And then once John Romita Sr. took over, the title kind of blew up and became the juggernaut that Spider-Man is today. So if I'm going to be completely honest during this live stream, while I have all the respect in the world for Steve Ditko's work on Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, Mr. A, Hawk and Dove titles, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, stuff like that, he was never a favorite of mine. And just because he's passed away, he won't become a favorite of mine. But like I said, I have nothing but respect for him. I have not seen Ant-Man and the Wasp. I don't have the time to. Tonight I'm going to a birthday party. So if you guys liked it, let me know. Don't tell me anything about it. I plan on seeing it probably, I don't know when I'll see it, but I'm going to do my best to see it and review it for you guys because I love the MCU and I'm excited to see more. Spider-Man has killed people in the comic, I believe. Maybe not intentionally. There was one creature that the guy ripped his eyelids off when Spider-Man fought him, and I think the guy died. I know Batman's killed more, but, whatever. I should have a moment of silence for Steve Ditko, sure. And there we go. Ooh, Logan Michael says 60 Spider-Man is the best. I disagree, but we'll get into that. So let me know what your favorite era Spider-Man is in the comments. That'll be a lot of fun. That'll be exciting to have that dialogue with you guys. But this image on your screen comes from Spider-Man Annual number 1, and I think it's one of the best Spider-Man stories ever. First off, thank you for your super chat, Logan Michael. This really sucks. It does. It's sad when somebody passes away that created something we all love, but he was 90 years old. He had a really great life. Yeah, he made decisions that were the reason why he died alone, but we don't know everything about Steve Ditko. Steve Ditko was an enigma. He chose to stay out of the spotlight and shun the success that Stan Lee received with Spider-Man. It's funny, the Spider-Man theme song says, "Wealth and fame he's ignored, action is his reward." Well, wealth and fame Steve Ditko ignored because maybe he was private and wasn't getting all this money. But the rumor is that he was sent a check for the first Spider-Man movie back in 2002, and he never cashed it and he never did anything with it. And I know a lot of times these creators talk about poverty and they need help. The guy that worked on Rocket Raccoon had a stroke or was hit by a car or something, and Bradley Cooper paid all the bills for him and took care of the guy. Was it not Bill Mantlo? It was somebody like that. But I know Bradley Cooper kind of stepped in and did stuff for him. Ditko's had opportunities to make a lot of money over the years, but he died broken, single, in an apartment in New York City. His body wasn't found until 2 days after he died. So it's kind of sad, but at the same time, it's hard to feel sad for somebody that had so many opportunities to do something to not be, poverty stricken. But yes, may he rest in peace. Steve Ditko did a lot for the world of comic books. I think Stan Lee gets a lot of unjust credit when it comes to Spider-Man, especially with the intricate nature of the world. Yes, Stan Lee wrote the dialogue and some of the jokes and the pop culture references, but there's a really great article over on Dial Beaver blog about Spider-Man is secretly Steve Ditko, and it talks about, it basically makes Steve Ditko an analog. Spider-Man is an analog for Steve Ditko. Flo Steinberg is Betty Brant, and all kinds of stuff like that. Stan Lee's J. Jonah Jameson. It's really an interesting read. I'll pull it up in a moment. We'll talk about it. It does sound like Bill Finger, except Bill Finger had a son. The old rumor was that Bill Finger died alone in a New York City apartment, and they threw his body into a trash heap. But in reality, he did die alone, and then 2 days later, his son came and reclaimed his body, had his ashes scattered on a beach in the symbol of the Bat logo. If you haven't watched the documentary Bill and Batman or Batman and Bill over on Hulu, I can't recommend it enough. It's the best Batman documentary. I know you guys may love stuff about the Nolan trilogy or stuff about the animated series, but we really got to understand where these characters came from, who really did the work, and give them the respect. So you can't send Bill Finger a check or buy a comic to help him out, but you can watch the documentary and pay attention to that. BVS, I think, was the first time where we ever saw Bill Finger and Bob Kane on a Batman movie, which is awesome. Obi-Wan 27883. Thank you for your super chat. Missed having you on the past few days. How do I schedule a live stream with my Patreon sub? Ant-Man was awesome. Didn't notice any blatant SJW stuff. Story seemed natural and unforced. Well, Obi-Wan 27883, all you have to do is send me a private message on Patreon, and I will let you know about the schedule. This coming week, I have nothing. I have something on Friday, and then I have the regular shows on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we will talk. I will work that out with you, and we'll get something worked out. Man like Miggs wants to know what my favorite Spider-Man stories are. Well, the one you're looking at right here, Spider-Man Annual #1. By the way, Obi-Wan, thanks for missing me. I appreciate that. I don't want you to think I didn't appreciate the compliment. I missed being here, but it was nice to step away and not have to sit at my desk and work. But don't worry, I got a ton of stuff coming for you guys this week, so it'll be like I never left. There'll be so much world-class bullshitters to watch. I'll be like, Jesus Christ, dude, give us a break. Well, I gave you one. So, yeah, one of my favorite Spider-Man stories is Spider-Man Annual #1. It's the first appearance of the Sinister Six. It's a crazy story. It is long for what it is. We can kind of flip through it together for a moment. Basically, it includes characters like Iron Man, the Fantastic Four, Thor, the X-Men. Just a lot of fun. I really enjoy this. It has Spider-Man face up against Electro, Kraven, the Sandman, Dr. Octopus, the Chameleon, and who's the sixth guy? My mind's drawing a blank. We'll find out together. But this is some of Steve Ditko's artwork in front of you right here. I'd be lying if I said it was my favorite, or if I said it was the greatest thing to ever touch, or be printed in a Marvel comic. I don't feel that way. But I do have nothing but respect for it. He did design the suit, and the suit design has stuck for longer than any other comic book character's design. The Thing evolved, Captain America evolved, Batman's changed his costume more than pretty much anyone. Superman's changed, but Spider-Man's been pretty consistent. I mean, the red and blue suit stuck around from 63 to 84, And any of the changes were really just artistic changes, like maybe Romita didn't draw the webbing under the armpits or this or that. Those were just artistic changes from the people drawing the book, not like a different variant of the suit like they make out everything to be today. So yeah, Spider-Man early on looked the same. And here's some of Ditko's bigger action splash pages. If you notice, Spider-Man was muscular back in the day. Just the way the artist drew it was a little different than what we're used to. But Spider-Man was a muscular character. Very defined legs and arms and chest and all that stuff. And there's a mystique to the eyes, which they kind of attempted to capture in Spider-Man Homecoming. But it was cool. It's a very cool, iconic look. Claustoric. Hey, Jeff, missed you. Did you get my message on Facebook? First off, Claustoric, thank you for your super chat. And thank you. I got your meme. It was so good that I had to go out of my way to tell my mom about it. That was my favorite thing I've seen all week on the internet. That was hilarious. Love Back to the Future. Love that line. I actually read it in Biff's voice. So, Claustoric, thank you very much. Logan Michael, Lime Green Hulk. I'll check out the movie. Don't worry. I'm definitely going to watch it. Logan Michael says, I can never find an accurate-looking 60s Spider-Man figure. Well, Logan Michael, there is a decent one from Marvel Legends back, God, this is like a decade and a half ago. First appearance Spider-Man. It's as close as you're going to get. They don't really do a lot of Ditko-era stuff. They do some Romita design stuff, a lot of McFarlane design stuff, and then modern-day stuff. So they do, whatever is the popular version of Spider-Man. But thankfully, the suit's so similar to what it used to be that it's not going to hurt. Kraven's Last Hunt is pretty epic. It's my favorite Spider-Man story, hands down. Mara Jade being played by Kerry Russell. God, why? If she's Luke Skywalker's wife, why would you introduce her after Luke is gone? So they can have some female Jedi and try to recoup the interest and keep the SJW agenda alive in Star Wars? Buck it. Buck Star Wars. No, I never met Stan Lee. And I don't really want to. I respect the hell out of the guy. I have nothing but nice things to say. Give him a high five, a handshake, whatever. But, I mean, I talked to Ethan Van Sciver, and he tells us how much Stan Lee hates his existence, and then you hear about all this stuff in the news. And I just don't want to bother the dude. If I met Stan Lee and he signed something for me, I'd never sell it. You know what? I actually have Stan Lee's autograph. I don't need a Stan Lee autograph. I'm pretty sure I have it on a Spider-Man comic I bought from a store. It was a Diamond Select Certificate of Authenticity book, so I know it was legit. Plus, I trust my comic book guys. But if I ever did get something else signed by Stan Lee in person, I would keep it. I have no desire to make some money off of Stan Lee's name. I care about these characters. I mean, I'm spending my Saturday afternoon talking about a dead guy that most people don't even know his name. So I give a shit about this stuff. But, if I get a chance to meet Lee Stan Lee, awesome. I'm not excited about the Venom movie. I love Spider-Man. I don't like Venom. Venom was fine. I was a kid when Venom came out the year I was born, so 88. I have Spider-Man number 300. It's a great book, a great read. We could do a let's read or a watch or something later on down the road. But Venom was okay, but I always gravitated towards characters like Dr. Octopus and the Green Goblin and stuff like that. So those are my favorite villains. The Venom movie looks just whatever. But if you're excited, awesome. I'm not here to knock you. I'll review it for the channel. We'll talk about it at great lengths. I'm interested. I really could go for a darker, earlier appearance of Venom's type of story. But the stuff that I liked best about Venom was how he interacted with Spider-Man, because he's a great Spider-Man villain. He's not just a great character out on his own, because that character doesn't work. He's just like everything else. He's got stretchy, elastic symbiote powers. Ooh, those are cool. I know what they actually are, so I know they're not elastic. But like when he goes to Aunt May's house and gets the drop on Peter and says he's with the gas company and stalks him and does all this crap. And that's way cooler when he uses the symbiote to turn himself into a priest and, read Spider-Man his eulogy before he kills him. That kind of stuff's awesome. We won't get that in a movie. Ever. Because they won't wait long enough to set the shit up properly. Say what you will about the MCU. At least they took the time to build shit. That's why we're 20 movies in and people are still seeing these movies left and right. So Spider-Man, you need to get Avi Arad out of there and Sony and Amy Pascal passed away. But you need to get everyone that's involved with these movies the fuck out of there and start fresh. Yes, get rid of Homecoming, start fresh and build towards something forever. Get a guy who'll play Spider-Man for the next 30 years. I don't give a shit. Just keep making them. Do it right. Logan Michael. Venom's origin will be different in the story. Yeah, I know Venom's origin will be different in the story, and I don't expect him to go to was it War World or whatever, wherever the Secret Wars took place. But where does Venom get his powers from? Well, it's a symbiote that mimics Spider-Man's powers. So that's where he gets the stuff, and the faces, the hatred, and all that crap. Those eyes come from the mask of Spider-Man because he was thinking about Spider-Woman's costume. Like, there are things that just, it doesn't work. Like, you can explain it away on film, but people are going to find it stupid, especially me, and go, it's not worth my time or money. Yes, I would rather have a Spider-Man fan or a Spider-Man TV show. Amy Pascal isn't dead. Sorry, Laura Ziskin is dead. That's who the producer on the Spider-Man movies are. Laura Ziskin's dead. No, Amy Pascal. Wrong. I don't know if we have any fans anymore, but yeah, Spider-Man TV show would kick ass. I'm definitely okay with that. And yeah, the origin story would take a long time to talk about in film. I don't need the entire origin, but you need to know why the symbiote hates Spider-Man. And you need to know why Peter Parker's Eddie Brock's pissed off about stuff too. Like, you need a movie or a trilogy to build up towards it, and then you can just let Venom survive at the end, and then come back periodically like he did in the comic books. This trying to tell the entire story and then kill them off in one movie didn't work. We all saw Spider-Man 3. Let's see. Yeah, wishful thinking. Sorry about that. So, yeah, but back to Steve Ditko. I know we're getting off on tangents. Steve Ditko had nothing to do with the creation of Venom. Venom was created by McFarlane and David Michelinie. I think those are the official credits for Venom. But Ditko had a unique sense of action. There's a lot of older guys that really, really, I hate to say it, overinflate like Steve Ditko's art. They're like, oh my God, it was the greatest thing ever and all this stuff. And it's great. But, I mean, he wasn't even the best of his era. Sorry to say it. I think Jack Kirby was better. Don Heck was better to a degree. Who else was better at that time? Oh, Wally Wood was better than everybody. That guy was the man. He kind of got screwed over and had a really shitty life too. See, that's the thing a lot of people don't realize. Comic book creators didn't live these glamorous lives. You had your Bob Kanes, and you had the guys from the newspaper days like Milton Caniff and stuff like that, who were considered, like Chester Gould too, the guy that did Dick Tracy, like they were considered like celebrities of the art world, and they did this stuff, and they were held in such high regard and got the big paychecks. But like the Marvel guys, they lived in apartments and had families, and they were just working everyday Joes drawing these books. Even nowadays, people that work for Marvel and DC aren't pulling in tons and tons and tons of money. So it was a labor of love. And, it's great that people have respect for these characters. I just wish that the creators or the people that spent the time with these characters got some of the love back. It's, we may love Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man, but Todd McFarlane's doing fine financially. But for every time you buy one of those books now or a reprint, he may get a small percentage or something like that. But he doesn't need it. Some of these other guys kind of did, like a Ditko. But like I said earlier, he threw his stuff away. So let me find something cool. Yeah, here he is fighting the the X-Men, their early appearance. You can see how far Marvel has come. But I'll end with this. Not end with this, but I'll leave it on this for a moment while I get back to some of your questions in chat. Let's see. We had a super chat from Obi-Wan27883. Thank you very much. Like or hate the idea of Netflix Spider-Man to cross over with Defender characters and series? I love the idea. There is a thing, street level characters, your Spider-Man, your Daredevil, I think they even consider Ghost Rider a street level character. I know he deals in the supernatural, but your Punisher. I think Spider-Man would be awesome to cross over with the Netflix MCU. And I think a Spider-Man TV series that essentially would be him facing lower level villains would be amazing. You can build the world, you can have the drama, you can put it on Netflix, it could be slightly edgier. And then again, they're kids, so you don't want them in these weird adult situations. But you can have it be slightly edgier. You can have, if they want to talk on these political issues or social issues and stuff like that, make them edgier, make them interesting. Don't make it like a Benetton ad where everyone's like, oh, happy, colorful faces. No, these kids go through shit. Let's see how a kid would go through this shit. Make Spider-Man, make it realistic, but don't make it preachy. Him crossing over from the movies to this would be great because there are so many things Spider-Man does in his daily life. Like, you could have a very Daily Bugle focused world. You could talk about how Ben Urich used to work for the Bugle and J. Jonah Jameson has regret about this and that. And there's just so much you could do. If I had the power to do whatever I wanted with the Marvel characters, that's the first thing I would really do as a Spider-Man show that honestly, it would have more episodes than these other ones, and we would do specific story arcs. You could retell his origin in an episode, because every Netflix show has a flashback episode. You could do that origin thing, and you could have him dealing with I don't know, organized crime, and then the Kingpin gets out and he doesn't know what to do with the Kingpin, so then Daredevil shows up, and then you could have like that little bond, right there in the beginning. Daredevil's in the show. Then you could do other stuff, and Spider-Man could show up and help these guys, because for the way Spider-Man kind of interacts with these characters in the books, he would show up for certain things. Like, to me, it wouldn't be out of the realm of believability if during the Defenders, Spider-Man would have showed up to fight, or would have shown up to fight at that building against the Hand in the basement and all that shit. That would have been cool. Yeah, I know it would build up or blow up the budget and do all these crazy things like that, but I'd like to see that. We need a little bit of fun. Luke Cage and Jessica Jones are a smidge preachy. Actually, Jessica Jones season 2 is trash. Luke Cage season 2 is fine. They get a little preachy, they get a little heavy-handed, but Punisher and Daredevil, I thought, balanced those things out pretty well with like the social commentary of what you're trying to say about the bigger human issue, at the same time having the fun and action. Like, Daredevil's great. I love it. Spider-Man could be less dark, but take place at night. He could deal with issues, Aunt May, all that crap. He could just have real human drama, because that's what's at the core of Spider-Man is the human drama. Now, rolling it back to Ditko, Spider-Man wasn't really like that as much. Yes, it was there was the dual nature of who is Peter Parker, who is Spider-Man. That was fun, but there was a lot more. I don't know. There was a lot of crime, not noir-ish, but like Spider-Man fought a lot more like grounded villains and stuff like that. And the romance really wasn't too much there. It was there with Betty Brant. He kind of liked Liz Allen and stuff like that, but it really kind of went over the top when the Romita Lee era started, right after the Ditko Lee era. And what do you adapt? I don't know. You find a nice happy medium. You can pay respect to all that. That's why I like this first 3 Spider-Man movies from Raimi. And yeah, I said the third one. I like it enough. Logan Michael says, Spider-Man 3 wasn't that bad. Thank you, Logan Michael, for your super chat. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. Like I've told you guys on air before, I had to see it a couple times to realize that it wasn't that great. But looking back, it's better than what came after it. So I guess I miss it out of nostalgia. But overall, it's not the best. There are worse ones. I have not seen the editor's cut of Spider-Man 3. I just don't want to spend the money on Spider-Man 3 again. I got it on DVD and I got it on Blu-ray. And to me, that's enough money spent on Spider-Man. If Stan Lee's not dead, but here, you know what we're going to do? We're going to pull up this. Because here's where I think a lot of questions are rolling in about Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, who created what, who did what. There was a lawsuit, I think. Well, now, because he died, it's going to be all these stories and obituaries. But here you go. Here's exactly what I'm looking for. Let's see if I can find a bigger copy of it. Just wait a second with me, guys. That's the beauty of going live. At least you guys are cool and patient, so I appreciate that. Okay, so this is the best one I can find in terms of size. So let's do that here. This is interesting to me. So this says, Tisk Tisk by Steve Ditko. Whatever happened to common sense? On what factual grounds do some people talk, write, and claim that Spider-Man is a one-man creation? Stan Lee's Spider-Man creation, which is right here. A 1 or 2 page synopsis for the artist, who must draw 21 to 24 pages of story/art panels. Dialogue must be then added, working from the artist's rough panel scripts. And that's pretty much what Stan Lee did. And then this is what Steve Ditko did over here. Designed the suit, the powers, the spider light, and all this stuff. So is Marvel's Spider-Man comic book character a one-man creation or a co-creation? So Stan Lee and Steve Ditko do get dual credit on all the book or all the movies and stuff like that. And that's fine. But look what Steve, and this is a claim too from Ditko, but here's the thing. Stan Lee never disputes the fact. I think they tried to work something out, and Stan Lee used the words, I've always considered Steve Ditko to be the co-creator of Spider-Man. And Steve Ditko took that as, I've always considered it, meaning like, well, I've thought about it, but I don't agree with it fully. So on a fucking technicality, not even a technicality, just the way it was worded, Steve Ditko blew up. So I think Steve Ditko's ego and issues were what kind of drove him to be what he was at the end. Was it his Ayn Rand infused objectivist nature? Like, the guy worshipped at the altar of that woman and her views, and sometimes that shit doesn't work. That's what happens with people today, and like SJW politics and all this other crap like that. People get so held up or bent over an ideology, and it like fucks their lives up. You know, maybe a family isn't for everyone, but I wouldn't want to die alone in a New York City apartment with nobody to, you know, claim my body, or have had no personal life. I mean, the dude was drawing comics till the end. Have you guys ever read one of them? I haven't, and I like Steve Ditko. So it's his life is an interesting thing. There's a really great documentary called Finding Steve Ditko by Jonathan Ross of the BBC. Watch it today. It's on YouTube. Like, as soon as I'm done in a little bit, go watch that. Don't do anything else this afternoon. If you've seen Ant-Man, have a great time. Thank you for watching our other videos, but go watch that documentary and learn a lot about Steve Ditko, the man, where he is, why he is the way he is. You'll never get to see him on camera, but you'll I don't know, you'll learn a lot more about the story than you currently know. Stan Lee story, or Stan Lee Ditko art. Well, like it said, Stan Lee would write a 1 or 2 page synopsis, maybe sometimes a paragraph, and Stan Lee, by his own accord, or his own account, has said that eventually Steve Ditko just went off on his own and created a lot of the stuff, and Stan Lee just wrote some dialogue and put his name on the book. And if Stan Lee's saying that as an old man with a lawyer present, come on now, we're talking, that's got to be the truth. If Stan Lee will admit to that far of it. I didn't think that the BBC documentary was crap at all. I liked it a lot. It's the best thing you're going to get on the topic. He's dead. Stan Lee's too old to do any of this stuff. I don't know if Venom or Carnage is in the Venom film. I haven't seen it. You could always buy a cat. That's true. Razorfist just did a video recently, and he tore into that documentary. Maybe he was just attacking a part of it, but considered... what about Steve Ditko? Considering it's the BBC, well, I don't know. I've watched it a bunch of times. Maybe I need to go back and look at it through a fresh pair of eyes, but I think I recently watched it a year and a half ago. And I mean, for what it's trying to do, it's got Stan Lee and all the guys that worked on Spider-Man, and Alan Moore was there and all these other people. So it is the only thing about Steve Ditko that's out there. Obi-Wan 27883, thank you very much. Homecoming was vastly superior to a Garfield Spidey and Spidey 3. Emo Toby, Sandman, Venom, Slaughter destroyed the good/great parts of the movie. Suffered from Batman and Robin syndrome. I think Amazing Spider-Man 2 was essentially Batman and Robin / Batman Forever camp and a lack of quality in terms of the Batman and Robin comparison. I don't dislike Spider-Man Homecoming. I own it on Blu-ray. And like I always say to you guys, if I own it on Blu-ray, I have to like it somewhat. So I bought it. I don't dislike it, but I like it more and more, or I like it less and less the more I watch it. That doesn't mean I hate it. But Spider-Man 1 and 2 got the character right for the era they were trying to represent. That's one thing a lot of people need to understand. That Spider-Man movie wasn't meant to be the Ditko adaptation. It was meant to be the origin in the first 40 minutes, and then basically it was the Ramita Lee stuff. And I've done a video here called 5 Things Everyone Gets Wrong About Spider-Man. You guys should check it out. I'll post it on our Facebook page today. It shows you panel to panel description and comparison and stuff like that, where those books come from, what era it's trying to represent, and it got it accurate. So I don't disagree with what you're saying, Obi-Wan. The Andrew Garfield ones are trash. Spider-Man 3 to me is 50% good. There are some moments of greatness, especially in the beginning. I really love the fight between Harry Osborn and Peter. When he's not Spider-Man, he's trying to get to the ring. Like, that was some good tension. That looked really cool. And the ending made sense. He, got knocked out. And then I liked that storyline was really cool. Now, yes, dancing Peter Parker was stupid and the black hair and all that crap. That was done wrong. I won't even try to justify that. But the ending, when they were fighting Venom, after the Sandman's kind of wiped out, because I thought Sandman was dumb. But after they fight Venom, and Venom kills Harry, and they have that moment, to me, that kind of like, it almost represents the film. Like, you strayed away from everything you once were. Like Spider-Man, when he puts on the black suit, he becomes something he's not. An extreme version of himself. He's more violent. He's this, he's that. He just isn't what he was. That movie Once they went to that, it strayed away from what it was. It wasn't fun and loving and realistic yet cheesy and stuff like that. It strayed away. It had no heart. And then at the end, it came back to what it had to be. That's how I feel about Spider-Man 3. It came back to where it had to be. So I'm not disagreeing with you. No, I have not seen Ant-Man. I have not seen Ant-Man at all. I will check it out this week. I want to see it very soon. I just haven't had a chance to see it, guys. I had, like I said, I had Mom's birthday this week, 4th of July holiday, stuff to do, Weezer concert last night, birthday party tonight, and I'll be back on Monday with a video, and then Good Morning Pop Culture, and I got so much stuff. Don't forget, we're going to be doing a live watch stream of The Last Jedi on Friday the 13th, the unluckiest day of the year. We're going to give you the worst film ever, Star Wars The Last Jedi. And then I'll be back with all kinds of stuff. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm not ending the stream anytime soon. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that I'm back and I'm happy. Hank Pym or Scott Lang, asked Logan Michael. Thank you, Logan Michael. Let's see. I don't really like Ant-Man that much as a character, so I'll say Hank Pym because I've read the most Hank Pym stuff in the book. I loved Paul Rudd's Scott Lang in the movies, and I really like Ant-Man quite a bit as a film, but I can't tell you I have this wide array. Like, I could sit and talk to you about weird minutia of Spider-Man for hours. I've read the books. Like, I was actually thinking about getting my webcam and pulling out the Ditko books, but then I thought, screen capture like this would be a lot easier for you to look at instead of me trying to worry about lighting. But yeah, to answer your question in a longer way, I'll just go with Hank Pym. Yeah, Nameless One. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. That is disrespecting to the name the worst movie ever. But can you think of something that deserves it more? I mean, you ruined Luke Skywalker. You ruined everybody. There's not a single character that was elevated from that film. Even if you hate Rey or Finn or Poe, Rose Tico, they were all ruined by that movie. That's why I call him Ruin Johnson, because he does ruin everything he touches. Imagine him doing a Spider-Man film. Wow. Whew. Hank Pym is like Steve Ditko. He hit his wife? No, sorry, that was mean. No, Stan Lee's not dead, but I'm making a point that Stan Lee really didn't create the shit about Spider-Man that you all know and love. Stan Lee gets way too much credit in regards to his contributions to the comic book world. Now, Stan Lee, back in the 70s, while these people were out there in New York drawing, Stan Lee was out west trying to get movie rights and stuff like that. So I'll give Stan Lee all that credit. Like, he really was pushing hard. He saw the characters they had, and he knew how to take them to the next level and how to make money off of them. So Stan Lee gets all that. And yes, he did write stuff, and Stan Lee's a very good writer. We can't take away from that. But in terms of Spider-Man, I think it's a 60-40 split. I was going to say 70-30, but I don't want to be... we'll put it like this. I'd say it's 70-30 if you say it's the first 38 issues. If it's all of Spider-Man, then Stan Lee's contribution starts to raise more or elevate more. But then there was that guy, was his name Roy Thomas, that kind of came in and was like an editor and stuff like that. So it's kind of, it's real murky. Like, the history of comic book stuff is not real cut and dry. Like, you knew who worked on, Ian Fleming wrote James Bond movies, and you knew, what's his name? Richard Maybaum wrote the scripts, and Joanna Harwood kind of came in and polished them up. There's like 3 or 4 people. With Spider-Man, it's kind of murky who did what here and there. Do I think the X-Men franchise is dead after Logan? It should stay dead after Logan. That movie was the perfect send-off for X-Men. But then we had Deadpool 2, which is technically part of the X-Men franchise. So no, I don't think it's dead. I think we'll continue to see more. I hope we don't see a reboot anytime soon. Dio Brando, would you rather have Johnny Depp play Morbius over, what's his fucking face? Jared Leto? You damn right. Jared Leto is a okay actor. I have no problems with him, but after the over-the-top nature with the Joker, I think the guy needs to step away from comic book stuff. Let him make Dallas Buyers Club, let him make his Blade Runner movies, let him make whatever the hell he wants to make, let him make his music. I don't have to listen to it. But let's keep Jared Leto's name away from comic book movies for a while. And actually this week, I want to try to get this video out about the upcoming Dune Spider-Verse that they're trying to create in the cinema world. I don't think it's a good idea. We should have a very tightly focused Spider-Man franchise and not try to do these spin-offs to make more money, because let's be honest, 80% of the people out there don't know these like I'd say 90% of people out there don't know who Silk is. Everybody in the world knows Spider-Man. Less people know Venom and Doctor Octopus and stuff, but it's still than Silk or Morbius and stuff like that. So I don't think those types of movies are good, and I don't think it's good to ruin the brand like that because you cause confusion. Into the Spider-Verse, not going to see it. Just don't want to see Miles Morales as Spider-Man. Don't need to see 40 versions. I hated the comic book, The Spider-Verse. I bought it. When I criticize stuff, guys, I never come from a place of ignorance. Like I've read it, I've experienced it. Like Secret Wars 2, the new one, was like the worst crossover I've ever read. Couldn't stand it. Logan Michael. Spider-Man extras are pretty thin characters. I don't know there, Berserker Pride. We should look into stuff like Flash Thompson. Instead of making him a stupid jock stereotype like we did in Spider-Man Homecoming, he's a really complex character, and the older he gets, the better he gets. I mean, he and Peter Parker become really great friends. You learn how Spider-Man's his hero and all this kind of stuff, and he's not just trying to take selfies with him and do dumb shit. I think when they write these characters to be like modern teenagers who are kind of dumb, they really ruin the character's progression and growth because they come off as one-dimensional, boring characters, and then by the time they'll do something interesting with them, they've rebooted the franchise, so it's too late. So Flash Thompson's a really good character. Felicia Hardy has a good background. Shit. I mean, if you really break into it more, Aunt May's more interesting than you could make her instead of making her the hot aunt. Like, they just are going for jokes with these MCU adaptations of Spider-Man instead of, like, real people. The Raimi shit had it down right. I mean, when Aunt May tells stories about how she met Uncle Ben, that fleshed out that character. You could flesh out J. Jonah Jameson more, or you could keep him comedy relief. I like that. I think that is a shortcoming on Marvel Studios' part, not really Spider-Man's world. Spider-Man's world is really rich. I know people say Batman has the best rogues gallery, and I will agree/disagree. It's either Spider-Man or Batman, but Batman's supporting cast isn't that great. I mean, outside of like Harley Quinn and the Joker, who are their villains, they're in the rogues gallery. Like James Gordon, there are other characters way more interesting than Jim Gordon that come from Spider-Man. So I think his whole open world is much better. And yes, I agree with you, Matanui. Stan Lee helped create the characters. On certain things, give him 50%, but his name does not need to be really on Captain America. He didn't do that one. That was Jack Kirby and Joe Simon. Logan Michael. How long should we wait for the X-Men reboot? You know, if we don't wait long, why not introduce like a first class thing, but have the actual first class from the comic? So, Cyclops, Beast, Iceman, and make him straight because that's how he is in the comic book origin. Jean Grey and Angel. Like, do them. Then you start, and then down the road, Logan and all these other people. But do it more, start that way. I think the X-Men first class characters are not really that well represented in the first movie to a point where, like, if you redid them again, I don't think anyone's gonna be upset. Like, oh man, without whoever played Banshee, who isn't even a first appearance X-Man, oh my god, I can't watch this movie. Let's see. Obi-Wan 2783. Dark Phoenix plus New Mutants are on indefinite hold. Is that official? I've been saying that for a while, and you know that. I'm saying I never, ever think we'll see New Mutants. That was supposed to be like an R-rated horror teen flick, and that first trailer came. Like, that movie's been done for months and months and months. The people will get paid, and that's the end of it. Disney's trying to control how the X-Men are seen, or they're trying to keep the public's perception, or they're trying to keep the public's eye off of X-Men. You know what's fucked up is these movies are probably pretty solid, but they'll never come out because they want to wait and reboot them into the MCU. And then you'll get the fans and the people online, and they'll say, it's so great. But, a good movie is a good movie. If it doesn't tie in with an Iron Man cameo, who gives a shit? Just make it good. Dio Brando, I think alternate universe where J. Jonah Jameson has become Spider-Man would be more interesting than Gwen Stacy becoming Spider-Man. Yeah, that would be interesting. I'll tell you, if you haven't seen Spider-Man 2.1, go watch that alternate cut of that movie where J. Jonah Jameson dons the Spider-Man suit. It's fucking cool. It's pretty awesome. I mean, you guys are missing out on one of the funniest moments in Spider-Man cinematic history. And if you have seen it, let me know if you like it. I love it. Changing this up, just to give you guys something new, some more Ditko, because we are here to honor his memory, his legacy. I mean, yes, Doctor Strange was also his legacy, as well as Mr. A, Hawk and Dove, stuff like that. But Spider-Man's the big gun. I know people want to say Doctor Strange now because of the MCU and Infinity War, but Doctor Strange doesn't have the lineage that Spider-Man does. I mean, come on, Spider-Man's a household name. Everyone can sing the theme song and do all kinds of stuff. The character has transcended Marvel. When Marvel was its own separate entity, he was the Mickey Mouse of the Marvel brand. He was just that face. Everybody knew him. The Max versus Pitt movie. I'd watch that in a heartbeat. God, that'd be so cool. Now, real quick, I know there's a lot of talk about Stan Lee in the comments. Yeah, I really do wish there was a way that the fans could unite and do something about Stan Lee's situation. We can't. We don't have a big enough reach. Even EVS doesn't have a big enough reach to save Stan Lee personally. But I think we can all agree that Stan Lee deserves to spend the remaining days, weeks, months, years of his life in complete comfort and peace, free from any distractions. I mean, the guy did work his ass off and, was a father and a husband and all that stuff and deserves the respect. And if he has to do conventions, I hope everyone treats him nicely. That's all I can say. What happened with the Spider-Verse breakdown? Logan Michael wants to know through Super Chat. Thank you. Do you mean like me breaking down the comic? Because I was never going to break down the comic. I just think the idea of them diluting the brand by making all these different Spider-Man movies that don't feature Spider-Man is a problem. And even if he's in a cameo for like 10 seconds, I don't think that's going to sell a movie. Plus, doesn't Silk have a weird romantic relationship with an adult Peter Parker? Like, they're like, when they're trying to do that whole not the spider totem thing, that was years before, but like, don't they bang is what I'm trying to get at in a nice roundabout way. Like, aren't they fucking? And it's like some weird animalistic, like, attraction they have to each other. That's some weird stuff. I do not know who Mr. Bones is. I'll have to check that out. Oh, Obi-Wan 27883, thank you. Kevin Smith tried to reach out to save Stan Lee. He did? I knew it was a good idea. I didn't know Stan Lee or Kevin Smith actually went for it. I hope it works. I mean, I'm not trying to sound preachy or anything like this, but really do give a shit. I mean, I really do. I'm sure you guys do too. We're all here because, yeah, maybe it's because of Star Wars that we're all here on this channel, but a lot of Star Wars fandom crosses over with comics and stuff like that. And if you read comics, even with a cursory knowledge of the genre or the medium, you definitely know who Stan Lee is. And, he's the grandfather of comics. I just always want to make it known that Stan Lee did a lot, but not everything. But in his later years, like Ethan says, you got to just give the guy his peace and comfort. It's so messed up how greedy people are. It's beyond messed up. Like, we can talk about people and these entitled douchebag writers on Twitter messing up Star Wars, but at the end of the day, it's not as bad as, like, your daughter trying to take your money and all this other shit. Like, real problems that no old person should deal with. Like, I love my grandma. You think she should deal with bullshit? No, she's old. Let her enjoy her life. Same for Stan Lee. Stan Lee taught you to read. You know what? Comic books taught me to read too. Spider-Man in the 90s was really one of the first things I sat down to read as a child that I could fully read through. My mom would buy me any kind of book. I picked comics because you could read comics and learn the art and have a lot of fun. It's funny how, if you think this outpouring for Steve Ditko, even if it's small, is pretty heartfelt, wait till everyone and their grandfather puts out a video or an article or a blog post about Stan Lee's death. That's going to be crazy. That is going to be crazy. See you later, ADP. Thanks for sticking with us. I appreciate it. Yeah, Kevin Smith is a Star Wars show, but if he's going to do something good for someone, you got to look past that. I mean, just because professionally I disagree with everything the guy does, even in the shill video, I say he's a good father, a good husband, and a good friend. I mean, go back and read what he did for Jason Mewes to clean the guy up. That kind of stuff is commendable. I can sit and criticize the business decisions he makes to keep himself employed with DC shows and stuff like that till the cows come home. And I strongly agree with everything that I put out there, and I stand by it and would say it to his face. But at the same time, I'd also compliment him on the shit he did for Jason Mewes and how it looks like he's provided a good life for his family. He's come a long way from, New Jersey. So remember that, folks. You may hate Kevin Smith professionally, but he does have good intentions when it comes to Stan Lee. So let's not worry about that as much as, hey, save Stan. Chris Press, real quick, Logan Michael, I'm going to read this one, but I'll definitely get to you. Marvel will argue Miles Morales is Spider-Man, and Silk and Peter getting it on. Well, they'll both be bitten by the same spider, so they'd be close in age. This is all dumb shit. See, this is why Spider-Man comics are garbage right now. Even the big episode or issue number 800, which I have sitting right next to me, was a fucking garbage read. I hate modern Spider-Man. Dan Slott is a terrible writer, and thank God he's gone. I'm not trying to echo what Diversity in Comics has said for the last couple of months, but man, Dan Slott ruined Spider-Man. I'll even go back to the One More Day era shit over this Dan Slott garbage. He has basically made it like cosplay the comic book, where you got all these stupid fucking characters that don't really bring anything new. They keep taking on the name from Spider-Man and trying to milk that brand for as much as they can, and it doesn't work. Maybe some people know Miles Morales from a cartoon or a video game appearance or the 1 or 2 action figures he's had, but when they stop making Peter Parker Spider-Man indefinitely, then the character's been usurped in popularity. But we're on Batman movie, 10 or 15, and it's still Bruce Wayne Batman. It's still Clark Kent Superman, and it's still it should always be Tony Stark Iron Man. The characters are the characters. Let's not try to change it. Just, what? You want a girl with some superpowers, make them different from Spider-Man and put her in a different comic book and see how it goes. That's what they did with Spider-Man. Spider-Man, real quick, the origin of Spider-Man was an Amazing Fantasy number 15, a book that was dying. It wasn't a comic book that was planned for months. There was no hype. Stan Lee had this idea, and then Steve Ditko and him went and did it and threw it out in this book that had no chance of coming back. And that's why when you read the first issue of Spider-Man, they're like, hey, by the time it took 9 months to get Spider-Man number 1 to stands after Amazing Fantasy 15. So by the time, it took a while to catch on, and then it was biannual or bi-monthly for a while, and then it caught on and grew. So character demand or character popularity is met with the demand and the popularity go hand in hand. A company with an idea that they want to push something never fucking works. If people demand it, it will always be there. Kind of like us. So keep demanding us. Cheap plug. Logan Michael, thank you very much. I just picked up NECA Part 2, Jason. It's an awesome figure. Logan, all of those NECA horror figures are actually damn cool. And I like how they come in the box with the different hands, like, bleeding hand, cut hand, different face, non-cut face, all that stuff. To me, that's the future of toys. Remember how it used to be all the premium stuff that got exclusive extra hands and heads and facial expressions? Now it's kind of trickled down to your basic $25 to $30 toy. Even Marvel has included, multiple hands and faces for a character. Like Spider-Man, Pizza Spider-Man from a couple years ago got a couple sets of hands, a slice of pizza, an alternate face. That is where we're going, and I'm really happy that NECA does that with something that doesn't have the same brand appeal as a comic book character. You pay more, you pay a premium with NECA products, but you definitely get a better product. Not in terms of quality control, because this shit can fall apart, but you get a nicely sculpted figure that looks great. By the way, Logan Michael, I just got a new NECA figure. I got Christopher Reeve Superman, so he's the man. And God, I miss Superman being real. Let's see. John talks Star Wars. Sad to see a comic legend like Ditko go. If anyone wants to see a good doc, check out BBC's In Search of Steve Ditko on YouTube. By the way, dig the channel. John talks Star Wars. Thank you very much for chiming in with Super Chat about the Ditko documentary. I was talking about it a little bit ago. There was a little bit of controversy in the comments section. People were saying it's this and that. That's fine. You don't have to love it, but I do. So, John, I'm with you 100% on that. And a lot of people have talked about your channel to me. So if you want to shoot us an email, worldclassbs@mail.com, thebestmail.com, and we can work out you coming on the channel and talking with us. I mean, we always want to talk Star Wars, so why not talk with John, who talks Star Wars all the time? But thank you for your compliment, John. I greatly appreciate it. And I do, again, recommend that you guys watch that documentary. I like it a lot. It's not as good as Batman and Bill or Bill and Batman or whatever like that, but then again, what is it? Doesn't have the Hulu money behind it. And yeah, the BBC, you'd think could put that kind of money into it, but this was before, the MCU took off the way it did. NECA wafers. I'm just looking at some of the chats right now. NECA Batman. I got NECA Batman. NECA Batman's great. Michael Keaton, NECA Batman. Red State was the bomb. Red State was all right. I don't dislike Red State at all. For Kevin Smith movies, it's middle. I prefer some of the old View Askew universe stuff for nostalgia and fun. But Red State wasn't bad. Red State was the last real... I want to say great. I really liked Red State. It's the last Kevin Smith movie that kept me engaged, and I really, really loved it. Zack and Miri Make a Porno might be my favorite next to Clerks. Like, as I've gotten older, something about Zack and Miri Make a Porno just works. I guess because you have real actors in the movie as opposed to, View Askew Universe people just getting carried over a lot. Yes, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are in other ones, but Zack and Miri, man, there's just something special about that one. Dio Brando, thank you. Jeff, I saw this rage-inducing article. They're talking about clamoring over Funko Pops being revealed in Dragon Ball Z. Like, Dragon Ball Z, the show, will have Funko Pops in them? Oh, that's just dumb, man. Like I always say, Funko Pops are the most plain, boring representation of pop culture. Like, if there's like a weird blob called pop culture, they're known as Funko Pops. They're bland, they're the same. They just slap a sticker on them and try to sell it to you again and again and again, and I don't like them. So that's stupid that they're putting them in Dragon Ball Z. Now, this article, there's a lot of fake geek websites that, the fake geek websites and the Funko Pops and all that kind of stuff just come together and create this really weird area of nothingness where nothing creative really gets brought up or elevated. It's like a big, it's just they're running around chasing their tail. It's the same old garbage over and over and over again. And somebody drops in something lame and boring, and then they're just kind of chasing around for it over and over and over again. If you're a Funko Pop collector and you have a good time with it, awesome. It's not a personal attack on you, but I definitely attack those pieces of shit that we call a collectible. Geeks are the rulers of the world. Oh, man, I wish. Funko Pops are as if someone made bland baby food out of pop culture. You're right, King Eric the 15th. You're definitely right about that. Let's see. The 60s TV show theme song Batman is a song that's hard to get out of your head. It just runs around your head for a few days or months. Yeah, no. Yeah, everybody knows that shit. That is awesome, too. It's weird that the 60s gave us really just two superhero themes, but they stood the test of time. Spider-Man has obviously his lyrics that aren't just na Batman, but the Batman, that guitar riff, the music for that show is really cool. I sat down to watch the new animated feature, the first Adam West, Burt Ward collaboration. I sat down to watch that, and I liked it. I didn't get through it all because I had to go somewhere, but it was pretty solid. It's on Amazon if anyone wants to check it out. But yeah, that theme song stuck, and they've used it again, and it's fine. It stood the test of time. It's nice to hear, era appropriate, or see an era appropriate Batman with the music. I like it a lot. I don't know why Michael Jai White doesn't do Al Simmons again. Probably because he wasn't asked to. I mean, they're trying to make this Spawn movie. I always use the phrase, they're trying to church up something. They're trying to church up the Spawn movie because Spawn is a remnant of a weird era of comic books where, yeah, it made a lot of money, but it wasn't necessarily good. So I will stand by that. I've read a lot of early Spawn, and if you like it, awesome. Enjoy it. Don't let my words change your opinion. But I don't think Spawn's that great. And I think when they bring in like a Jamie Foxx and all this other stuff, Todd McFarlane himself, the creator of Spawn, is directing the film. So you need a strong actor like a Jamie Foxx to kind of be able to know what to do. Plus, he has the name recognition, and like Jamie Foxx is a consummate entertainer. Like he can sing, he can dance, he can act. Jamie Foxx hits all the things you need to hit, and he does them well. He does them from great to pretty good. So Jamie Foxx is a legit actor. I don't think he's a good choice for Spawn, but I know why he's cast. Not saying I like that, but I know why. Obi-Wan 27883, KK Roundhead and the Shills at Disney got the rights to the Cockknocker fist and have been using it on the true fans by stuff since The Force Awakens. Oh my god, that's a good reference right there. If you don't know what Obi-Wan's talking about, make sure you guys watch Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back for that one. But as I always say to a lot of our fans, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. I feel like they went in dry with that thing and were being punished just every day for being Star Wars fans. Did you guys see that really bullshit comic book panel that somebody tried to draw? It had like Jake Lloyd and all these other fucking people. You know what's funny is, I'm sorry I'm cussing a little bit. I'm kind of pissed off when I think about this. The hypocritical nature of these people. Like, that preachy asshole that drew that comic is the same dude that shit on Jake Lloyd, and those are the people that don't really worry about Jake Lloyd. We brought it up. We the anti-Star Wars movement, or what the fuck we're called now. We brought it up that you guys forgot about Jake Lloyd and Ahmed Best, but now they're bringing it up and trying to use it in their argument. No, they're worried about a weird agenda. They don't give a shit about the people of Star Wars that have suffered any kind of problems throughout the years. They're only talking about these people now because it's trendy and it's helping push forward an agenda that Disney Star Wars is truly good. So you know what? Fuck that comic. I always, Jake Lloyd got the short end of the stick. I advocate for him, getting cleaned up and, moving on in life. Maybe have a return to acting. Go direct. Do something. Get your life back on track. Same thing with Ahmed Best. Those people have had problems because of Star Wars. I mean, Kelly Marie Tran got harassed on Instagram. Oh my God. You know what? That sucks. I'm not making fun of her for that, but it was just some shit. Your life, it hasn't affected you to live a life. Those other guys that happened to. So, don't forget them though when it was, cool to shit on the prequels. Don't. The last one of the old Marvel bullpen is Stan Lee, and once he's gone, Marvel will be dead forever. David Deister. That's a sad thought, man. That is a sad, sad thought. I'm not trying to, be dramatic. But no, I really, like I told you guys, I wanted to be like an EVS. I wanted to be drawing comics and doing all this stuff. And that's why I'm going to put out one, because it's something I've always wanted to do. I'm not trying to get in on the movement to be cool and hip. I have stacks of, I have sketchbooks taller than I am filled with art. I have a bin full of old comic pages that never went anywhere. I mean, I have all this stuff to show you guys. I do care about the art, and Marvel's always been my favorite. Yeah, I don't like SJW Marvel, and yeah, I don't like the garbage they put in the books. But my God, at one point in time, Marvel meant so much. I have coffee table books, big leather-bound encyclopedias, everything about these characters. Spider-Man's my favorite, but the Marvel MCU or just Marvel in general, all there. And just think that that's it. If Stan Lee is the last remnant, because Flo Steinberg died, Kirby's been dead for, 24 years. All these people, yeah, Stan Lee, I know it's sad that Stan Lee's going to die soon, but it's cool that Stan was the last one standing. No pun intended. Stan Lee really did rise up and do a lot. And I really do respect him for what he's done in terms of getting these characters into other mediums of entertainment. There's a reason why the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man had cartoons within the same decade they appeared in. Fantastic Four was 61, and by 67 they had a cartoon, right? That's the year. From Hanna-Barbera, the #1 TV production studio for cartoons in the 60s. Spider-Man, you had that Grant Trey Lawrence show, which kind of sucked, but it had the theme song, and it ran forever. It's part of the world. It's a meme, it's a show, it's everything. Stan Lee really was responsible for a lot of that. So, I mean, yeah, there are times where you're going to hear me say, Stan Lee didn't do all this, but there are times I'm going to go back and say, man, Stan Lee did so much more. I'm just getting sad thinking about him dying soon. Part of me wants it to happen so he can get out of the whatever bullshit he's dealing with, but part of me, it's just fucked up, But he led a long life, and I hope it was a good life for most of it. I hope the end of his life doesn't color the perception of his entire existence. Benny Warren. I think the guy who played Killmonger would make a better Spawn. Oh, Michael B. Jordan. Benny, I don't know how long you've been listening to the channel. I've never seen your name before, but thank you very much about the super chat. But if you've been a long-time listener, as many of you have been, I hate Michael B. Jordan. But then I saw Black Panther, and he did a really good job. See, I'll admit when I change my stance on something. And Michael B. Jordan, I used to think was a garbage actor. I had seen him in Fruitvale Station. I had seen him in Fan Four Stick, and I had seen him in Chronicle. And I just thought, what's the hub about this guy? And I saw half of Creed, like the beginning of Creed, post Black Panther. So I can't use that as a justification of my argument. But when I watched Black Panther, I went, this guy is a good actor. And in the right roles, he is really good. I would much rather have a Michael B. Jordan than a Jamie Foxx. Take my previous comments about Jamie Foxx, they still stand. I think he's a great all-around performer and brings a bigger presence to a movie. But I don't want to say it like this. I was going to say he's too pretty to play Spawn, but hear me out. It's not like that. I don't think he's gruff enough. I don't believe that he could be in the military or kick someone's ass. He writes songs about, weird shit back in the 90s, and then he's in other comedy movies and stuff. Like, I see him as like a real actor, but I don't see him as like an action star. I see him as like, Jamie Foxx, star of the Jamie Foxx show, as well as Academy Award-winning portrayal of Ray Charles. He's a real actor's actor in certain regards. But then when I see him in Baby Driver, he's a very good bad guy, but he's not like fighting and kicking ass and doing all this stuff like Spawn would. I don't buy that. But Michael B. Jordan, I believe, has that. So, Benny, I agree that I think he'd be a better choice. Chris, my thoughts on Wesley Snipes reprising his role as Blade. I think it should happen. I advocate for old superheroes as well as young superheroes. Wesley Snipes has been the only Blade, and I think he should be the only Blade for quite a while. I mean, yeah, there was the TV show on Spike. I've seen it. I don't like it. But in film, he's it. Bring him back, man. No, everyone has such a positive memory of him as Blade. Why not? It's stupid. Don't fix what ain't broke. I honestly think that Thomas Jane should still be playing the Punisher over John Bernthal, but that's just me. So, but yeah, bring him back. Dio Brando, thank you very much. Yeah, now they're trying to blame fans because Jar Jar thought about killing himself. If anything, he tried to kill himself because he got stuck for being known as Jar Jar. That has nothing to do with us. Thank you, Dio Brando. Thank you very much, because you get it. That is a deflection argument that these people try to throw at fans. Like, at the end of the day, we're just a bunch of people that hate a fucking movie and we want Star Wars to be saved, okay? They're the ones that turn it into this garbage mess of racist, sexist, bigot, asshole. No, they're the ones that turn it into that. We didn't make it about that. It was bad characters, bad stories, fix it, don't ruin Han, Luke, and Leia to raise up Finn, Rey, and Poe, and Rose Tico. They suck. The old ones are better because they're better written. No, they definitely are using that kind of stuff as arguments against us. Let's talk to Mark Hamill, like non-PR Mark Hamill. Let's talk to him about his career post-Star Wars, and let's hear what he has to say. Maybe he did some stage stuff. Maybe he did some small-end stuff. But Mark Hamill didn't have much of a career after Star Wars. The lead actor of the film couldn't do much. And now Ahmed Best, who was like the second string of characters in The Phantom Menace, got typecast and made fun of because the character sucked. We're not going to have a Jar Jar renaissance where Jar Jar is truly respected and understood. Not going to happen. He sucks. Cutting him out of the movie makes the movie better. I think Ahmed Best, that's a good point that you brought up. I think his suicide thoughts were because of his career. You know, he was in Star Wars, and he thought, man, this is a star-making role, and then nothing came from it. He was just a joke. I think there's a misnomer that Star Wars is no pun intended, a star-making role. Only a handful of people really rose from Star Wars as a success story. It's really just Harrison Ford. Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher were in other films, but Peter Cushing, as well as Alec Guinness, were already well-established actors, like actors, real, respected, way above what Star Wars was in the beginning before it came out, type of thing. Those were big gets for those movies. Billy D. Williams was already a thing before Empire Strikes Back. Maybe you don't watch those movies, but he was in Mahogany and stuff like that. Black-centric films. Billy D. Williams was the man. I'm looking at the Return of the Jedi poster. Nobody came out of that role or that film a new star. Then we get to the prequels. Jake Lloyd had been in a few things before Star Wars and really not much else afterwards. Ewan McGregor had been in Trainspotting as well as other things, so he had a career. Natalie Portman was in Heat. She was in The Professional, which were movies that had already come out and been big successes internationally or just domestically, and so she was already an established thing before that movie. Liam Neeson, already established from Star Wars. I really can't find a person that appeared in a Star Wars film besides Harrison Ford that blew up and took the world by storm in terms of acting. If I'm missing one, tell me in the comments. I'll eventually correct myself. So Ahmed Best assumed, Tamara Morrison was in one or two things. What has he done post that? Nothing. Keira Knightley was in Star Wars, but Star Wars didn't make Keira Knightley a star. Pirates of the Caribbean and Bend It Like Beckham really were her big things. So, John Ratzenberger, the guy from Cheers, was in Empire Strikes Back. I think he was in Superman as well. But it wasn't until Cheers that he became a really big star. So, Star Wars didn't elevate him. Star Wars only elevated Harrison Ford. End of point. Thank you, Dio Brando. I appreciate that. But yeah, you get it. It's not us that made Jar Jar or Ahmed Best want to kill himself. It's probably his career or lack thereof, because he's really a nobody underneath it all. I'm not trying to be mean or kick somebody when they're down, because my family's dealt with stuff like that. Everybody's family's had some kind of issue or tangentially been related to someone with issues like that. So I'm not making light of Ahmed Best's plight, but I'm not going to let the fans take any blame for that. I'll speak for all the fans. It's not our fault. 6 turning 4 burning. Thank you very much. Stan Lee is like the Steve Jobs of comics. He's the face of a company and knows how to market, but not really hands-on with creating. Let's see. I agree with the comparison to Steve Jobs. Stan Lee, though, I will give him credit, was a very good writer. Stan Lee brought a lot to these characters, but because we don't know exactly who did what, it always needs to be, at least the safe bet is 50-50. Lee and Kirby, Lee and Ditko, and then who else? Like, I think Larry Lieber gets a lot of credit for Iron Man, Stan Lee's brother. By the way, Stan Lee's real name is Stanley Lieber. I'm sure you guys know that. I just wanted to say it for like the two people that just joined that don't know. I do like the Steve Jobs analogy, but yeah, because I guess Steve Jobs, I don't really know much about Apple. I don't own any Apple products. I'm not taking a stance against Apple, but to me, they're always expensive, and I can get a lot of power out of stuff that I need on a lower budget from Windows stuff. Yeah, I guess I'll go with that 6 turning 4 burning. That's a pretty good thing. Stanley was the ultimate huckster. There was a lot of good things that came from his personality. Go back and look at some of the like speaking things he did and interviews he gave back in the day. He was very much ahead of his time. And I'm pretty sure it was Stan Lee that came up with the idea of putting all these characters in one universe together the way they do it. So let's give Stan Lee that credit too. But thank you, 6 turning 4 burning. Really good chef. Welcome back to the channel. I still want Steve Buscemi to play old Spider-Man. I will take all the ability that this channel has to rally up a fan movement to make that happen. I'm all for Steve Buscemi playing everything. Everything. I have watched The Dirty Laundry. Thank you, Centurion Rex. Ruin Roundhead Kick. Let Dishonored Wolf know that I am interested in seeing the two of you do a podcast together. Apparently, he has not heard of You or the High Council. I emailed you about this earlier. Excuse me. Ruin Roundheaded Kick. I will respond to the email. I got to get back to that. But yeah, maybe Dishonored Wolf hasn't heard of us. That's fine. I don't take it personally. I don't think of myself as like, hey, everybody knows me. I wish one day, but no. The dialogue, the lines of communication have been opened. He's welcome here. So anytime he wants to show up, check out the channel, know what we're about, get involved, say his piece, the door is open for him. So thank you, Ruin Roundhead Kick, and I appreciate it. If we can make that happen, definitely a special shout out to you, because you guys have made a lot of cool things happen through your requests and reaching out to the other people that are involved. So thank you to everyone who does reach out to other YouTube channels that says, hey, I want you on World Class Bullshitters. I want you on the High Council. I want you here. I want you there. And thank you to them who show up. It's been a lot of fun. Obi-Wan 27883. Again, thank you very much. If Darth Jar Jar was Lucas's actual plan, it would have saved Jar Jar and everyone would have loved his character in the end. But direction change. I don't know if I like the idea that Jar Jar was a Sith. I don't want to ruin anyone's fun, but I'm one of those people that I don't really love the fan theories, because a lot of the popular ones are just like, hey, watch the movie. It kind of kills your fan theory. And then these internet articles are like, but what if? I'm like, no, but there's no what if. It's not there. Jar Jar's a Sith thing. Wouldn't that go against the rule of 2 the whole time? Master and Apprentice, no more, no less. We saw the Master and Apprentice in each film. So with that new rule implemented, how does that work? I mean, feel free to correct me or fill me in on more of the situation. I'm not trying to take away your fun. I'm just saying, for me, Jar Jar was a mistake. I think you could have fixed... Because why is Jar Jar there? I know Jar Jar is kind of like owing Qui-Gon that life debt, but why does Qui-Gon take him to Tatooine and do shit? He gets him into more trouble than anything. It's just dumb story writing. I think if George Lucas would have had a Gary Kurtz back then, or if Rick, what's his face? Not Rick Rosenthal, not Rick Berman, that's from the fucking Red Letter Media thing. Rick McCallum. If Rick McCallum would have had a set of balls on him to say, George, this doesn't work, Jar Jar would have been written out of the story early on. Like, Qui-Gon could have saved Jar Jar. And then, whatever. Make Jar Jar an important character to the Naboo, or the Gungans. And Qui-Gon saves him, and then like, oh, we owe you a life debt. And then at the end of the movie, he cashes in on the life debt for the Battle of Naboo. There you go. Don't bring him along for the journey. He was stupid. Let's see. Boag says, Dishonored Wolf has Trump derangement syndrome. I've never watched Dishonored Wolf, so I don't really know anything about him personally. So if he does, I don't even know what that is. So sorry? Question mark. I'm not trying to not give you the time, Boag. I don't know what that is. Any thoughts on Akira 1988? I've read the book and I really like it, and I need to watch the movie. I'll definitely sit down and do it. And if you guys want me to talk about stuff like that, let me know. Have I ever seen Super Bob? No, I have not. Spawn movie suffered from CGI, bad CGI in the 90s. You're right, 100%. If you guys want a decent adaptation of Spawn, and I stress decent, not amazing, but decent to good, go watch the HBO series. That's the Spawn I watch when I want my Spawn fix. Okay, so Matrix Bear wanted to tell me that some people of the Marvel bullpen are still alive. Well, I mean, different generations of the Marvel bullpen are still alive. Roy Thomas is still alive and kicking, right? I mean, the Marvel bullpen, I guess what the original poster meant was like the original Marvel bullpen. Because it was small. Let's see. Don Heck, Larry Lieber, Larry Lieber's still alive. Larry Lieber is alive. So if Stan dies tomorrow, his brother will be the last one of the Marvel bullpen. Now, do you stretch it out and say like Romita Sr.? Because Romita Sr. is my favorite artist. I'd love to meet that dude. Do we include him in Marvel bullpen? It's, we get it. Dio Brando, thank you very much. Jamie Foxx would be a better Chapel than Spawn, in my opinion. Yeah, or maybe Michael B. Jordan could be a decent Chapel. We'll have to see. Dion is the guy to really talk to about Spawn. I've read a good handful, because there were these big image omnibus or omnibuy or whatever they were, these nice collected editions of Spawn. They were hardback, they had white covers, and I've read a chunk of those, because the older I get, the more I respect Todd McFarlane's artwork. But I can't call myself a Spawn fan without putting an asterisk there saying he's okay. I like him more than a lot of other characters. But if somebody said, Jeff, I need your top 25 superheroes, Spawn probably isn't going to make the top 25. I mean, we're going to go Spider-Man, Batman, Superman's going to pass him up. I like Superman. Maybe he's not cool, but there's a reason why Superman, is in many spots in this office right now. I love the character. Because reasons. Spawn was great. Cheers to Cyberfrog. Yes, cheers to Cyberfrog. I personally got myself a copy coming. And so when you look at the credits page, all the people that made it possible, you'll see Jeff, the world-class bullshitters, because the High Council were as tight as ever, and we always support each other. That's how stuff like this works, because we have each other's backs, and our voices are able to reach quite far. Speaking of reaching quite far, thanks to everyone who made that 1 million viewed video possible. We hit 1 million views on our Kathleen Kennedy video, so it's impossible for them to deny that we're a very small reaching vocal minority. We may be minor in terms of people that are speaking out like this, but a lot of people give a shit about what we're talking about, and over 1 million people have heard that one video from me, so they cannot deny us anymore. Obi-Wan 27883, you're the real MVP of this. Thank you very much. Dooku and Maul and Grievous broke the rule too already, if that's the case. I think Master and Apprentice is the rule too. Jar Jar would be the Master of Palpatine. Well, I don't know if Dooku broke... Well, Grievous isn't a Sith. Grievous is just, whatever, isn't he? But remember, Dooku, at the time of Darth Maul's existence, was still a Jedi. Him and Cypher Dyas or whatever. I always took it that in Episode 2, Dooku had just been a Sith for between that 10-year gap. He had fallen to the dark side in that thing. Because wasn't he Qui-Gon's master or something like that? So I always took it as either he faked his death and was off the radar a little bit or something, but he wasn't a Sith yet. Maybe it was the Grey Jedi or whatever the people say. The Darth Jar Jar thing would just be so dumb. I think the plight of Palpatine's story works better when Darth Plagueis, the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise or whatever, that was Palpatine's master, and he was the apprentice that killed Darth Plagueis type of thing. I think that works the best. It elevates Palpatine's character, that he's able to, one, manipulate that, and maybe two, maybe he did create Anakin out of the Force or the dark side. I don't know. But those are some of the beautiful moments of the prequels. Not the way they were executed, but the ideas, the conversations we're able to have. Star Wars, the original, they surpass them in every way. but they're a lot more black and white. There are some really good what ifs that can be coming from the prequels. So they give us those types to think of. Water is good. Let's see. Logan Michael, thank you very much. Would it be cool if all the 2000s Marvel Fox films took place in the same universe? X-Men, Daredevil, Fantastic Four, and Blade. Yes, it would have been cool. I think that would have been a good idea. And you don't even have to do the appearances type of thing. You could just have references to the world. So like in the Fantastic Four, they talk about, are you like that other team from the situation in Times Square at Liberty Island? And they go, no, we're not like them. You don't mention them by name. You don't change the plot, but they live in the same universe. Blade. I don't think Blade would have to be mentioned like in a big thing. Like you could just have, some like if there's an underground type of character that they mentioned the Daywalker. I think that would work better. But I think that would have been cool, Logan Michael. I really wish that would have been the thing, but sadly it wasn't. Beamer, welcome back. Some normies think we are the vocal or are a vocal minority. Well, those normies would be wrong. This is an online movement, man. There's an online movement. And yes, because reasons, 1 million. And you know what the best part is of that? Because reasons, it reached 1 million views in 1 month. This isn't an old video, 1 month. And the second Kathleen Kennedy video is already at 753,000, so it's catching up. I mean, these are really hitting a wide audience of people with, I have my opinions. I back them up with certain facts and statistics on these videos. And, a lot of people can find things in them that they appreciate. And thank you to Data Racer for watching it twice. So I owe you 2 thank yous. Thank you again. And yes, random game user, this is a community. It's not a competition. We do support each other. And you know what? I support you. I'm a subscriber of your channel. So you guys should check out Random Game User 42. I like your Batman box set in the background. When am I starting my comic Indiegogo? Darth Platypus, I'm going to start that probably in August. I want to give all the other ones the time that they deserve. I don't want to step on their toes, but also I need to get some art together because I haven't drawn in a while. I got to get my tablet out, warm up, and I got the story idea done. Like if somebody said, hey, write a book, I could pitch you the premise of the book tomorrow, and then I could write a book over the next couple months and get it out. But it's a comic, and I need to make sure it's done properly because, I want to hire a professional colorist to do all kinds of stuff. I don't want this to be like, some shitty Kmart comic book. It's a cool concept, and I have the ability to draw it, and I want to make sure that it's executed perfectly on every level. I'm going to hire my local friend, Dave. He's a comic book artist who does lettering. I'm going to get him to do the lettering. I'm going to have a real collaborative effort on that book, and it's going to be really good. And I got 3 comic books planned. So after you get the one about Harrison Ford, then you're going to get the secret one that I can't wait to talk about just yet, and then shipping and handling. If you're a fan of the podcast, you know what shipping and handling is. But thank you for your question, Darth Platypus. Boag, speculations on Dave Filoni taking over Star Wars. I think you'll hear about him stepping up more, maybe at Comic-Con, to kind of try to quell this whole thing, because the people that are anti us, the fans, they're really fucking up constantly. So they need to give us something to sink our teeth into and distract us. That's where I come in. That's where Ethan and Jeremy come in, to keep the facts coming, to keep you guys remembering what's going on in the situation. Because distraction, deflection, remember the video deflection of Star Wars story, it's been deflection for 8 months. Don't forget where we've been. Don't forget where we have to get as a community to get the outcome we all desire. So I think Dave Filoni will be mentioned in some stuff, but maybe he'll be like a figurehead, kind of like a queen or something. She's there, she's the figurehead of the country, but she doesn't really do much anymore. So those are my thoughts on that. I'm going to read the super chats. I just want to read this one because this was a nice thing. This comes from MCOC_Josh. What does Spider-Man mean to you, Jeff? Also, new sub. Love the channel. Well, Josh, thank you for finding the channel. I'm glad that we're growing the way we are, and I appreciate everybody, new and old. Don't forget, I don't forget people that have been here the whole time, but I don't treat anyone new any different than the people that have been here the whole time. I'm happy that everyone's here. Now, Spider-Man means a lot to me, and this is why I really wanted to read this, because this is about, Steve Ditko and Spider-Man. Spider-Man means a ton to me because it wasn't the first comic book character I got into, but it was the one that got me into comics as an art form and to something deeper. As a kid, I had Spider-Man coloring books. I watched the cartoon religiously. I had all the toys. I had a video game. I was into the character like a lot of kids were. But when the Spider-Man movie came out, for some reason, I got hyped about comics as like an art form. I wanted to get involved. And Spider-Man's always been the symbol of what like made me love comics. I spent countless hours drawing. I put it like this: if I would have spent all the hours that I spent drawing at the gym, I'd be built like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I've drawn so much. And at one point in my life, my goal was to, like, my big life goal was, like, I want to draw an issue of Spider-Man professionally. That was it. Like, I don't care what else I achieve in my life. I'm going to get through college. I'm going to do all this right, but I want to draw Spider-Man professionally. That was like my end game for many, many years. And then, comics started to change and stuff like that. And we are where we are now with SJW Marvel. And I have this channel, and I have all you guys, and I don't even miss that type of thing. I do, want to do a comic to get it out of my blood, to finally draw something that's going to be read by a lot of people. Because I've spent the time creating the stuff, but no one's ever read it. Not because I'm keeping it hidden that I'm embarrassed. It's just I didn't have a platform to get it out there. But Spider-Man was always important to me. He was a representation of what I wanted to achieve in terms of a professional career. And the character's always been great. I think we can all relate with a character like Spider-Man. Batman's cool. The darkness, the emotional drama, the dead parents, all that stuff is fun to read. But Spider-Man is the everyman. And there's something that all of us, it resonates with all of us. For example, the whole I'm not the coolest kid in school thing, or, the girl that you like in the jock. See, I was always in a weird place. I wasn't a geek or a nerd, and I wasn't a loser outcast. And I was not really a jock, but I did play football. I was in a weird area. Like, I could connect with everybody, but for some reason, even though I wasn't an outsider like Peter Parker, I still identified with the character because I guess I could see myself, if I went this way, I'd be like him, and if I went this way, I'd be like this person. So I always appreciated that. And then the costume, something about the eyes, the suit, the design is perfect. And I've drawn Spider-Man on paper or on digital so many times. It's not even funny. Like, I know the suit better than most people that have drawn it professionally. Like, I just know, like, I can tell you how many webs are on his face when certain artists draw it, shit like that. So Spider-Man means the world to me. And that's why I went out of my way to do a stream to talk about Steve Ditko. Yeah, it's turned into other talk, and hey, that's the power you guys have with this. But, Spider-Man, awesome. I love the hell out of me, Spider-Man. Let's see, Logan Michael. Hugh Jackman was going to make a cameo in Spider-Man 02. I'm pretty sure it was Spider-Man 2 that he was going to make the cameo in, but they lost the suit. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know Hugh Jackman at one point was supposed to be involved with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Logan Michael, imagine the world we'd live in if the MCU started in 2004. Oh, man. I know you were a younger guy, but I would have ate this shit up as a teenager. Yeah, I was 19 when Iron Man came out, but still, a couple of years younger, Jeff, I would have been like throwing cash at shit left and right. Like, I gotta own everything, but I'm an adult now. Let's see who else. We had a bunch of super chats pop up in the meantime. I do not want to skip any of those. So, 6 turning 4 burning. If Tran was attacked on Twitter, the media would have reported it when it happened and not after she signed off. I've seen too much false reporting. 6 turning 4 burning. Someone has sent me some speculation that I get a lot of stuff via email, and I read it and I respond back accordingly. And if it takes a while, sorry if you're one of those people that's still waiting. But I get a lot of rumors and speculations, ideas. And the one that I saw that really, I wanted to make a video on it, but it was too flimsy to make a whole thesis about, was that maybe she just signed an NDA for the next Star Wars movie, and they just use this as PR spin to make us look bad and act like the movies are still so great and that we're just crazy. I do think there's a lot of false reporting, and I think there's a lot of spin, and I don't want to keep using this to build up the channel, but really pay attention to like the high council group of guys. We're going to give you the honest spin and look into it. Like, we act like we're reporting on the thing. So, Star Wars is important to me. I'm not going to quote Rose Tico and say about save the things we love, but I give a shit about Star Wars. You can quote me on that. Star Wars Episode 4 gets a DVD release. I give a shit about Star Wars. Jeff Hicks, world-class bullshitters. Like, I do. That's why I do what I do. And the Kelly Marie Tran thing is fishy at best. And then they're trying to give power to Rian Johnson. Oh, he should be the voice for the fans. And, no, that's like in episode, 2, when they give emergency powers to Palpatine. Like, we're at war with them, but don't give emergency powers to Rian Johnson. He can't make a fucking movie in peacetime, let alone wartime. So don't give that guy shit. Sorian Sky. Darth Jar Jar is a bad joke that's no longer funny. I agree with you. Really good chef. Flat Earth is a better theory than Darth Jar Jar. I agree with you. Sven Sandstrom. Cool name. Just saw Ant-Man. It was great. No SJW. I am definitely going to see it. I just haven't had a chance. And I'm glad there's no SJW garbage. I know Evangeline Lilly has been saying stupid shit in the media, but I'll have a little bit of faith in the MCU still until Captain Marvel comes out. And if Captain Marvel is free of the SJW nonsense that I've been worried about the last couple months, I'll be the first channel to report it to you. Hey guys, Captain Marvel SJW free. Awesome. We don't know yet. We're not there. But I'm really happy that Ant-Man is safe from that because I really love the first Ant-Man. And I don't want to see a sub-franchise of the MCU be ruined. I'm really excited. So staying away from a lot of shit, and I'm going to see it this week, and I'll be back with a video for it. See a lot of people talking about Dooku and stuff like that. Star Wars has also destroyed the careers of the guy who first played Lando. No, Kevin Burdine, if you're saying that Star Wars killed the career of Billy D. Williams, I'm almost positive that Billy D. Williams had his Colt 45 advertising slogan campaign after Star Wars. He appeared in Batman. He's been in a handful of movies. I would say Star Wars is the peak of his career, but he has had a fine career post-Star Wars, much better than Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill. I mean, we all love the Joker as voiced by Mark Hamill, but I think we're elevating a voice acting job beyond what he was actually paid and the exposure he received. So Billy D. Williams, I don't think was hurt by Star Wars at all. Benny Warren, thank you very much again, Benny. In the Darth Plagueis book, Sidious considered the Count too old, and Plagueis told Sidious only to train Darth Maul in combat as they needed someone who they could use to eliminate people. Oh. I'll have to check. I do want to sit down and check it out. I actually picked up 2 books. I'm not going to tell you what I picked up today, but I'm going to get into some reading to help grow the channel. No, I'm not going to be reviewing books and stuff like that, but there are some things that we want to do to grow even bigger. And I want to be able to give you guys some more food for thought in terms of video content, not taking away the humor, not taking away the Star Wars at all. If anything, it's going to help both. But I'm getting ready to read some stuff. So, Benny, if you ever have any more, if you have a place that can give me outlines of these Star Wars books, I would love them. I know Wikipedia gives you an outline to a degree, but if there's somewhere else that has a more in-depth review or you've written stuff yourself, shoot us a message on Facebook or an email to worldclassbs@mail.com, thebestmail.com. And I'll definitely look into it. I love Star Wars stuff, not the new stuff, but I do like learning more about the lore. And no, Ben, Carl Jammin, Stan Lee's not dead. Steve Ditko is. Yeah, random game user 42. No problem. Yeah, I'm a subscriber. We're all in this together, and I think your stuff is really good. So, like I said, everyone check out random game user 42. Beamer, glad to be part of the movement. Thanks for having me. Well, we're honored to have you, Beamer. I see you in these all the time, and I'm glad that you watch the live stuff and talk. It's nice to have people to ask questions and stuff. It really keeps us rolling. I thought I was going to go for an hour today. We're at the 90-minute marker, and the watch has been pretty consistent, in the 300s the whole time. So everyone that's, taken part of this is keeping this thing rolling. So thank you very, very much. Because reasons. Yes, no Kmart comics. Of course not because reasons. I'm putting my name on this. I put my name on these videos. I don't, have a screen name or anything like that. I believe in what I make, and I want to believe in this comic. And the concept is fun. The execution will be fun. Don't worry. I'm going to get it out there probably in your hands in January, and we're going to have a really cool comic book to talk about and something that you'll never forget because no one else is going to make the story. And if they do, that's plagiarism. They stole it from me. Hairwolf Stanley didn't write Spider-Man. He did. He gets the credit. He didn't write as much as we think. Shop smart, shop S-smart. Ross Skywalker, you're the man. Let's see. We had another super chat pop up from Robbie Bop Bop. Love your channel. Can you shout me out at Robbie Bop Bop? All right, folks. Well, check out Robbie Bop Bop. He's a supporter of the channel, and I'll show love to anyone that shows love to us. So thank you, Robbie Bop Bop. And everyone, show some love to Robbie Bop Bop. And let me know how that goes for you, my friend. I want to see it 20 million subscribers. Shit, I want to see myself at 20 million subscribers. I can't wait. Oh, my God, that'd be crazy. Oh, man. Dr. Claw, probably the most tragic loss of the comic book world since Bob Kane. I agree with the sentiment. I'm very anti-Bob Kane, though. And I'm not trying to play devil's advocate with you, and I'm thankful that you're watching the stream. So when I say this, I'm not trying to make you feel embarrassed or point you out. So please don't click off in anger. Hear me out. Bob Kane ripped off a lot of stuff in terms of Batman. He ripped off stuff from Da Vinci. He ripped off stuff from, I believe it was old Shadow Pulp stuff. He traced stuff. He stole stuff from Bill Finger. Bob Kane, yes, he is. I'm sure he contributed stuff to Batman, but Bob Kane had I think a lawyer father, or a father who knew how to get Bob Kane a good contract back in the day. So Bob Kane lived a crazy life, an awesome life that I don't think was much deserved, but he did, and I'm not taking away anything he may or may have not added to Batman. Batman is he the greatest American superhero? It's either him, Superman, or Spider-Man. So, it's one of those three. But yes, it's sad that Steve Ditko's passed away. And Bob Kane, I guess, was one of the more recent classic guys to die. Wally Wood killed himself in, 1980 or 1979? Kirby died in 94. There are sad ones, like Michael Turner was a sad death. I met some of the guys at the Michael Turner booth at the Cincinnati Comic Expo a couple years ago. And I told them, I don't know Michael Turner personally, never did. I don't want to act like I'm trying to grave-stand, but, I really liked him. And it's, I watched a documentary on his life and stuff like that. So that one was kind of sad too. Let's see. Who else sent in one I don't want to ignore? Here we go. So, Logan Michael. It would be cool if at the end of the new Halloween movie, a new version of Jason would make a cameo and set up a Michael versus Jason movie. I'd watch it. Now, let's see. Paramount, I believe, is the sole owner of Friday the 13th, but that won't happen, Logan Michael. The only reason I'm telling you why is because Victor Miller, the guy that created the Friday the 13th, wrote the first movie. There's a weird legal battle going on between him and Sean Cunningham and Paramount and all this stuff over legal ownership. That's why the Jason game is over. Like that cool game that came out a few years ago, it's over because of this lawsuit. So don't expect to be seeing any kind of Jason crossover anytime soon. This is what, a Blumhouse and Universal picture? I don't know what other, you could see, legally, you could see Jaws fight Michael Myers or something like that. That'd be a great movie. I hate sharks. I would want to see Jaws eat the shit out of Michael Myers. Press F if you want to watch that movie. We'll all go see it together. 6 turning 4 burning. Thank you very much. Yes, I agree with the NDA on Tran before episode 9. To me, it seems like the most logical step. If we take out our emotion and calm down, it's like, well, a lot of people have to sign shit. So she just closed it down for the movie because she seems like she posts a lot of stuff and didn't want to get in trouble. And, I wouldn't either. If I was working on a movie like that, and this was my big break, in quotations, I wouldn't fuck it up by posting shit on social media. It's funny. If I was in a movie, I'd be the perfect person because I don't really post a lot of lame stuff on social media. I didn't even post a picture of me at a concert yesterday. I'm not even secretive. I just don't share everything on social media. Then again, I don't have anything really to keep from people on social media either. Just nothing that cool. Obi-Wan 27883. Dark Horse did comic of Zahn's trilogy. Read. I will check those out. Dark Horse Star Wars comics were the best. Those and the old newspaper strips from back in the day. Which, whatchamacallit? Not Marvel, which Dark Horse did put out. And thank you, Heroic Avenger 96. That was nice. Yes, Jason's rights are up in the air. People, let's see. We had a super chat pop up from Benny Warren. Sorry, I have Audible, and my professor gives me a lot of time to listen to books. Oh, no, don't apologize. I'm glad you guys are giving me this knowledge. I know, man, Rugis and that guy, what's his name, Matthew, somebody sent me books to listen to. And I listened to half of The Last Jedi, and I still owe that guy a video. So sorry if you still listen to the channel. I'll gladly get it as soon as I can. And Rugis, I'll listen to that book just because you sent it to me out of the kindness of your heart. Audible's cool. I like that idea quite a bit. The only thing I don't like about The Last Jedi novelization is that it has sound effects, and this one British guy is trying to do female voices. And so imagine if I was reading a comic book to you guys, and I read oh no, I'm going to die. I just gave you some fake fucking voice. It would be stupid. Let's see, a lot of Jason versus Kathleen Kennedy. I'd watch that in a fucking heartbeat. Oh my God. That would be, I guess people consider that sexist or mean, but if you put her a picture of her face over all the Friday the 13th kills, That'd be kind of funny. You could do it with anybody. It'd be just parody. I mean, no one actually got hurt in those films, except the guy that played Jason in part 2 got his finger cut deep and all that crap. Either way, it would be a funny parody. Who would be a great match off against Ash, says Kanai24. Sorry if I butchered that. I love Ash. I think Ash would be a great... You could have Ash fight Leatherface because they're both, real people with chainsaws. That'd be a cool fight. I think you could do a really sweet series of movies before Bruce Campbell gets too old, like Ash versus the horror universe. You don't call it that, but basically you make movies where Ash faces off against horror icons and wins. Just these crazy knockdown, drag-out brawls. Make them fun. Don't make it seem like he's going to win each one, but have him win overall. That would be cool. I mean, look at Freddy versus Jason. They both kind of won in the end. Do something similar, but where Ash walks away on sometimes, Freddy Krueger. Or, oh no, you do all these movies, and then you find out that it was actually all a dream and that Freddy Krueger's his final nemesis. That'd be cool. And remember how Ash fell asleep with the alternate ending of Army of Darkness? It could be during that dream, and that's why he can't wake up. It's all a dream. There you go. There's the movie. We just came up with it together. That's our fucking film. Beamer. Jason versus the cast of The Last Jedi except Mark Hamill. Yeah, I agree with those. Or I agree with that. Man, he would take out everybody. Is Rian Johnson the first to go or the last to go? I mean, in many ways, I want to see Rian Johnson almost get his and then run away, and then we save it till the end, or it's a big payoff. No social account. Stan Lee is not dead. Steve Ditko, the creator of Spider-Man, has died. Creator with Stan Lee. I don't think saying the creator of Spider-Man and Steve Ditko in the same sentence is disingenuous because of this image right here. Steve Ditko deserves a lot of credit. And I was using the beginning of the stream to kind of, put that out there, guys. Don't forget Steve Ditko. He's dead. He's 90 years old. He was 90 years old. And, Matrix 29 Bear, Steve Ditko actually only did 1 or 2 comic book appearances at shows, I think the first comic convention back in the day. And he was always an odd, reclusive type of fellow. So I don't want to criticize him for his own personal, his comfort level in public. But Steve Ditko just closed the door a long time ago and never came out to talk to anybody. So he died alone because of the way he chose to live. So it's sad that his story never got out there more than a couple, through a couple letters and this and that. But, like I said, his choice. Dio Brando, Anakin versus Sandman. Anakin still hates sand. Now, lightsabers are so hot that they cauterize wounds. So when Anakin slices through the Sandman, does it turn his injury to glass? And then could he use that glass to cut Anakin? I mean, that's the biggest question of the thing. Beamer. Make Johnson the worst to go, like the most gory kill. Ooh, okay. Okay, so that's how we're going to book that movie of Jason versus the Last Jedi crew. Johnson's last. Or, I mean, Big Boss Kathleen, she could be the opener. You're just like, yeah! And you're all pumped up because a horror movie has to have a good start. Like Halloween has that good start, that single shot, where they kill Judith Myers and then the mask is revealed and it's little boy Michael Myers. Do stuff like that. Yes, Hiroza Sakobi, Stan Lee and a small group of people did flesh out Spider-Man over the years. I will not even disagree with you 1% about that. Lee and Romita made it more of a romantic story. Then there was all kinds. I can't really even get into it in this stream about how Spider-Man developed post Steve Ditko. I'm just saying creation. In the beginning, there was Ditko and there was Stan Lee. And now there is no longer Steve Ditko. Centurion Rex also says, I've always regarded Ditko, the creator of Spider-Man, rather than Stan Lee. Yeah, when I was a kid, Stan Lee created everything. In my mind, Stan Lee was Mr. Marvel. You loved him to death. He still has a great voice. I don't care how old he is. It's so nice to hear his voice and see him in movies. It's a nice calming thing. But Ditko really did create the elements of Spider-Man we all know and love. So I'm giving him the nod in this stream. You guys can disagree. Awesome. All day, every day. That's fine. You have that right. But I'll give this stream to Ditko. The only thing I can really give to him is my opinion on the situation, and that's it. Ernesto Santoyo, you are my new personal hero. Romita took Spider-Man to the next level artistically. Yes, he did. You heard me give my praise and respect to Steve Ditko. I don't think he was that great. He was very inconsistent in terms of like his panel to panel drawing. Not trying to shit on a dead guy, so don't take it that way. But in one panel, Spider-Man would be really webby. Next panel, he'd be missing some webs. Then his fingers would be off and ugly. I go Romita all day, every day. He elevated that character to what Spider-Man was for fucking 30 years almost. Like, that guy doesn't get enough respect because everyone talks about the creator, Steve Ditko, in terms of design. And they talk about like Todd McFarlane. They actually forget the influence that Romita had. I mean, when Romita dies, I'm going to do a fucking hour-long video. Okay, maybe not an hour long, but I'm going to do a video dedicated to him and his contribution to Spider-Man in terms of design, what he brought to the story, the Kingpin, stuff like that. The guy does not get enough praise. That's a name that needs to get out there more. Beamer, I have not seen Club Dread. Kendo is the big Broken Lizard fan. I think I saw the trailer for Club Dread back in the day and wanted to see it. If it came out after Super Troopers, I remember seeing the trailer because I'd seen Super Troopers and wanted to see the movie, but I never did. The Healthy Man. Long-time listener. I remember your old name. Imagine if Spider-Man 4 came out in 2010/11. Ignore Sony rights BS, and at the end of the movie, Nick Fury recruits Peter in his apartment. Rest in peace, Steve Ditko. Healthy Man, I like that idea. Now, here, let me give you mine real quick. The one that I've stuck with. Imagine everything in the MCU is exactly the same. Exactly the same. Movies, dialogue, everything. Nothing's changed. Then, during the final battle of New York, after the Hulk looks beat down, remember that part where they're shooting him down and it looks like all is lost? You hear that weird Yahoo scream that Tobey Maguire used to do with Spider-Man, and he comes in to fight the Chitauri with him. So the movie is exactly the same way, but you include Spider-Man in the fight for New York because he's been around the whole time, but these other movies were in different parts of the world or New York with the Hulk fight. Why would he get involved with that? And then you have Spider-Man in the MCU from Tobey Maguire, and then you build from there. That, to me, would be the craziest way. Just straight up in the middle of the fight when you think all is lost. One more person comes into the fray. You don't put him in the trailers. You don't put him in the posters. You don't put him anywhere. You literally don't tell anybody. You send out fake trailers. You send out fake screeners to these critics. You shoot a couple extra scenes so when it gets reviewed, it just, comes out like they get this other cut. That way the bootleggers can't ruin it. And then you get that. Imagine seeing that in theaters. I was already blown away by the Avengers in 2012. If you would have sent that or had that, it would have sent me over the edge, and it would have been like the best moment they could have ever had. Ever. Dio Brando. Pinhead should torture Ryan Johnson. Ooh, that'd be fun. Permanent hell. Major Tom, Lee wanted Peter to stay a teen, where Ditko wanted him to grow up. Yes, I've heard that. I also heard the flimsier rumor about the revelation of the Green Goblin. Peter Parker, Spider-Man growing up to me is the best thing for the character because you can only stay in high school for so long because as an adult, you grow up and you want to see the character go through similar things to you. Like, I feel like college-age Spider-Man's the best one because he's an adult. He doesn't have to live with a parent or a guardian. And now, cell phones and shit, parents are calling you and texting you all the time to check up on you. That takes away the element. Like, there's an issue in early 2000s where Spider-Man's with the Fantastic Four. They go off to fight in another dimension, and they're only gone for like 40 minutes, but they're gone for like 3 or 4 months in real time. And Spider-Man had been gone that whole time. You can't have that in like kids Spider-Man stories or shit like that. He's beaten up in a corner or an alleyway, left for dead. Like, no, he's got to get home and be home by 10 o'clock, and you get all these stupid cookie cutter stories. So that's why I don't like little kid Spider-Man in film. Because reasons. Batman versus Iron Man. Now, that'd be some bullshit I'd drool for. Remember, if Batman doesn't have the time to prepare, Iron Man can punch through his face, and that's the end of the movie. Another thing. Iron Man's smarter than Batman. Batman leaves his face open. Why wouldn't Iron Man just send a little missile boom into the mouth? That's the fucking movie. That's the fight. Why doesn't any villain shoot Batman in the mouth? I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh, Logan Michael. My cat just broke the glasses off my NECA Myers. Moment of silence for your NECA Michael Myers figure. And now a moment of silence for your cat. No, I'm just joking. Dude, I'm really sorry that happened. If you can glue them on, awesome. If you gotta get a new one, I mean, I've replaced stuff that gets broken because I care. I really, replace it if you can. If not, Boom. Yeah, Data Racer, I'm not advocating for harm for anyone. Parody's parody. I think we're protected under law. Iron Man has nothing on Magneto. Magneto is a more complex character. Magneto's stories are good. I don't necessarily like how they keep doing it in the newer First Class universe. Not McAvoy, that's Professor X. Michael Fassbender. I don't like how his story is just cyclical. It's the same shit. I'm evil. I come back around. I leave. I'm evil. I come back around. Leave. It's like I get it, dude. I know that's Magneto, but like we're getting in the same movie. Let's have a whole movie where he's one thing or the other. Thank you, Chris. I'm glad you got the tingles from that too. I thought that would have been just the best. Like I thought of that on the podcast one night, and I stick with that. It'll never happen, but I can dream. Like you remember that scene in the first Spider-Man where he first appears and swings into camera? Like redo that shot where he kicks like a Chitauri off the thing and webs two more and pulls him down. And remember, he would have been Spider-Man for 10 whole years. That could have been the thing where Fury's like, who's this? We got an unknown, like, off the grid, that much off the grid type of thing, because Spider-Man to that point had made like 3 very public things. I know the public knows who he is, but he could have still got off the radar. That would have been interesting. He could have taken a break a small break, not an 8-year Batman Dark Knight Rises break, but a small gap between post Harry's death. He could have been like kind of, trying to focus on his relationship and life with Mary Jane. And this could have been like his first thing out. Like, hey, I may be fighting muggers and doing smaller scale shit, but the city is being melted by aliens. What is a better time for me to step in? And then you could do a Spider-Man 4 that's post that tells you where he's been, and you reintroduce him, and the world would be a better place. Let's see. Because reasons, thank you for your super chat. Batman's prepared. Stark, Well, if Batman's prepared, do we know if EMP affects the Iron Man armor? I don't think so. If it can go into space and do all this shit, and he did solve the icing problem, I'm still going to go with Tony Stark. That suit is much more advanced than anything Batman pulled together in BVS. BVS, he said, basically Batman pulled together like a fucking walking tank to fight Superman, because that's what Superman is, a walking tank. And Iron Man created a sports car that's invincible, or nearly invincible. I think Iron Man has the edge. Beamer, Magneto was amazing in the X-Men 90s cartoon. Thank you very much for your super chat. And Beamer, I agree. The X-Men 90s show was incredible overall. That theme song was awesome. Now, when they do the 3rd and the 4th, or the 4th and the 5th season, where they change the theme song and they change the animation, that's when the show kind of shits the bed and I don't want to watch it anymore. But the early stuff, that's the problem with a lot of Marvel animation in general. The early stuff has the budget and it's really good. And then you get later on down the road and they ran out of money and it gets real shitty. So that's how I feel about X-Men. But yeah, he was the best in there. I hate the Spider-Man movies where Spider-Man depends on gadgets. I do too. I'm not a fan of the suit in Homecoming. I stand by the fact that Spider-Man needs to get by on his own merit, his own ability to fight. That's the drama is so much greater when Spider-Man could die at any moment. He doesn't have a fucking magical suit to save him. It works for Iron Man. It doesn't work for Spider-Man. That's just how I feel. I feel strongly about it. I'm also not like a super Spider-Man purist. There is a nice middle ground for all this, but high-tech suit so that you can have an AI voice to talk to you for internal monologue doesn't work. Have a better story. Don't worry about that. Kirosa Sokobi. I love Batman and Spider-Man more than Superman, but I think Superman is not an uninteresting character. I think he works best when he brings out the best in humanity and when he does other stuff too. I like Superman. He's top 10 for me. He always will be. There was a point in time where he was my favorite. To be a Superman fan in the early to mid 90s was pretty decent. You had a couple games, but you had the greatest cartoon of Superman. I liked Lois and Clark as a kid, the show. You had plenty of toys. You could really kind of get into Superman in the 90s. I'm not saying he's the best character of the 90s, but there are ways to write Superman. Like, go back, get yourself a copy of Action Comics number 1000. You can see Superman be relevant in modern society. And if you really want something else, go watch the Justice League cartoon where he goes and fights Darkseid and shit like that. Cool. I like Superman. Not my favorite, but top 10. for sure. Ruja, Spider-Man could have been taking a break since because he was working on his addiction to smoking Mary Jane. Do you guys remember Mary Jane's cigarette problem in the 90s? I don't know if you guys have ever read 90s Spider-Man comics, but there was like this weird tobacco PSA where Mary Jane was a chronic smoker. It was interesting to say the least. Yeah, they should have let Superman's death go longer. I think Superman's death worked better than Batman's back breaking. So that and then the Clone Saga just sucked for Spider-Man. Anastasia Bell, I like that message too. Yeah, see, Karosa Sokobi, I agree that he is walking propaganda for American ideals, if done right. What are American ideals today? Kind of muddled to what they used to be. I like when it was truth, justice, and the American way. That's a very simple way to explain what Superman stands for. Classic ideals. Captain America does a good job of that in a more modern sense. I just don't think you get the right people working on Superman. Bring back a guy like Jerry Ordway to draw it. Get some old school writers that aren't really trying to be woke, and you have a Superman that could be fun again. My Superman is always Christopher Reeve. No matter how much I enjoy Dean Cain or Tim Daly as the voice, or George Newbern for that matter, Christopher Reeve. Like, you talk about chills and superhero movies and shit, the end when he flies away and looks into the camera, every time. Love it. Awesome scene. My favorite moment of those movies is just that part. He was so good in the role that he wasn't even Christopher Reeve without Superman. And even though that movie came out 10 years before I was born and I saw it 20 years after it came out in the late 90s, it still works. Even to this day, he's just so good. Him, the suit, the music, all that came together and gave you a really awesome Superman. Plus, it was directed by Richard Donner, the patron saint of this channel. So I can't really contractually say anything bad about Richard Donner. I'm just joking. Richard Donner's the man, though. I'm glad we agree on that, Sokobi, about the Justice League cartoons. I bought the first season on Blu-ray. I'm going to get the second as well as Justice League, not International, Unlimited. See, that's the kind of Superman I like. Maybe he's stodgy in certain things, but here's the thing. Superman Returns is a crap movie. Batman vs. Superman, pretty crap movie. Same thing with Man of Steel, pretty crap movie. I just hope that people don't take their idea of what Superman is or should be from those. If anything, get your asses out there and watch Superman the Animated Series. He's a depowered Superman. Not depowered, but less powerful. He has a lot of problems. He comes face to face with a lot of adversity. Makes him interesting. And he does it in a nice, concise format. That, to me, is a very good representation of Superman. My thoughts on Man of Steel. I saw it opening night. I thought it was okay. Just okay. I'd rather watch Superman's 1, 2, and maybe Superman 3. I did catch Man of Steel, was it 2015 or 2016? It was on TNT, and I watched. I thought, this is okay. There are tweaks I would make. Henry Cavill could be a really good Superman, but Zack Snyder can't really make a good Superman film. Let's see. Superman the animated series was amazing. I agree. Let's see. Don't underestimate Batman. I don't underestimate Batman, but I don't overestimate Batman either. I think the media or just the world out there is like, oh, because he's Batman. The people from what is that? How It Should Have Ended have really colored the because I'm Batman type of thing. And I love Batman. I'm looking at a giant version of the Batman the Animated Series figure on my shelf, as well as a smaller version. I love Batman. Just can't do it. Ooh. Centurion Rex says he agrees, and Fleischer Superman in animated series is the ideal Superman. I love me some Fleischer Superman, and the best part is it's in the public domain, so you guys can watch it for free, and it's not pirating. So if you haven't watched the old 40s Superman Fleischer animated show, do it. They were shorts that would play before movies. They're way ahead of their time in terms of animation. Hell, the shit you saw back then is better than the shit you see on TV today. I stand by that. Animation is top notch. Yeah, some of it's rotoscope. It still looks better end product. Superman 3 is the worst. I think Superman 4 is worse than Superman 3, but that's just my opinion. I like Richard Pryor enough. There are some funny moments in Superman 3. There are some dumb moments in Superman 3, like the part where he accidentally skis off the building. How the fuck do you survive that? You don't. But the part where he's dressed up as the general and gives Superman the fake kryptonite, and then Superman turns evil and fights himself in that junkyard, that was cool. And plus, the chick that plays Lana was pretty smoking. So I like that. Oh, sorry, me. No, Stan Lee did not die. The creator of Spider-Man, Steve Ditko, passed away at the age of 90. He's no longer with us. If you want to get into the semantics of it, Lee wrote a 1 or 2 page dialogue or idea of what Spider-Man would be, an outline, if you will, and Ditko filled in the lines and gave us what we have here. So we really need to remember that Steve Ditko did most of the work. And Stan Lee is still alive, thankfully. Trust me, if this was a Stan Lee memorial live stream, it would be the creator of Marvel. The Marvel universe has died. Believe me, he gets that. Don't worry. I may have my things I have to say about Stan Lee here and there, but he will get that when he goes. David, I love that idea from Office Space as well. I love Office Space. If more people cared about it, we would talk about it a lot on this channel. Maybe we'll do a live stream one night when I have nothing much to do. Ditko's best work was Doctor Strange. I will disagree, but I've only read a handful of Ditko Doctor Strange. But it's Spider-Man, my favorite character. I'm not going to all of a sudden go, I like Doctor Strange. No, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, I have respect for it. But Spider-Man all day, every day. CWD Trixie, I too miss both the Marvel and the DC shows from the 90s. That was the best era to grow up a superhero fan. Yeah, maybe you could have loved the comics in the 60s and 70s and 80s. And maybe in the 80s, you had a few more shows than you had in the 60s, because the 70s had what? That one Fantastic Four show and Super Friends. Super Friends is cool. But in the 90s, you had all that on like syndication. You could catch you could catch Super Friends on Cartoon Network, but if you didn't have cable like me, you could catch Spider-Man, X-Men, Batman, Superman, all of them. You had everything. It was great. Sokobi, I do like Captain America questioning the U.S. government. That's why I stand behind that character, because I feel like whoever wrote it gets it and knows the character's meant to represent that, the old way in America. And I'm not saying you got to do everything the old way, because there were terrible things that were done back in the day, but he knew what was right back then and what was wrong back then and what's right and wrong today. And that's why that character works on so many levels. No, Stan Lee did not die. Steve Ditko, the creator of Spider-Man, died. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Yeah, that was, 81? That came out with the other Spider-Man cartoon, Ernesto. If you're a Romita fan, then you can see the influence on the designs. I'll stand by the first Spider-Man cartoon from 81, the solo one, and that was obviously design influenced by Romita, but I like that show better. It's more focused on Spider-Man. That's what I care about. If Disney bought DC, would we see Batman versus Iron Man? Oh, man. I hope not. I hope Disney doesn't buy another goddamn movie property franchise or media conglomerate. I think they would team up. It would be too jarring to see them introduced. Well, here's the thing. Would you guys want to see it? Because it wouldn't be Robert Downey Jr. It wouldn't. It would be a different Iron Man versus some new Batman. I don't think the appeal would be there. Logan Michael, thank you. 90s Marvel TV shows were the original MCU. They were. I was thinking about that the other day. I got this video I wrote called Growing Up a Marvel Kid in the 90s that I just need to get put together. But I made that, and that was one of the points I made in that. That was the original MCU type of thing. You would watch Spider-Man, and here would come the X-Men or the Captain America and all these other characters, especially in that Secret War episode or the Warriors 6 or whatever. Like, you had a lot of cool crossovers. Spider-Man appeared in the X-Men show. I think it was one of the days. It was the Dark Phoenix saga. You just saw a hand web up and save somebody. Spider-Man was there. They had it beforehand, and it was kind of cool. Actually, it was very cool. Joshua Hughes, Spectacular Spider-Man is definitely better than the 90s animated show. We could talk about that at great length one of these days. Because reasons, Batman thinks, how do I bring these guys down? It happens. Admits, Stark versus Wayne would be kick-ass. It would be kick-ass if it was Bruce Wayne versus Tony Stark. I think Bruce Wayne would win, because Bruce Wayne is much better at combat. Remember, in Captain America Civil War, Iron Man has to say to the like track his fighting pattern, because when he doesn't know how to track his fighting pattern, he's getting his shit pushed in a suit of armor. So without the armor, without the technology to help him with the fight, I would say that Bruce Wayne would beat the living hell out of Tony Stark, because Bruce Wayne and Batman are really one and the same. Tony Stark and Iron Man, like he says, it's a robotic prosthesis. That's the best term or whatever he says for it. He needs that suit for strength and stuff like that. A lot of Batman's strength is, himself. He trains, he works out, he detects, he knows when people are lying. Iron Man would be like, track his heartbeat. Batman would know how to look for the eyes and other stuff and, judge that way. So I think Batman is a more compelling character, but I think if we're just talking about Iron Man in a suit of armor versus Batman in his bat suit normally, Iron Man could just use that laser to chop him in half if they have to fight to the death instantly. I mean, there are a lot of things that people don't take into account. Iron Man's arsenal is pretty much a walking war machine, no pun intended, or crossover intended. Just you could literally rip Batman apart in that suit. 90s Spider-Man did end on a terrible cliffhanger, but it didn't really end on a cliffhanger. The Mary Jane thing did end on a cliffhanger, but it kind of had that thing where Spider-Man was brought into the real world and he met Stan Lee. That's cool. Like, when he and Stan Lee does die, somebody should watch that clip. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, the healthy man knows the words of the theme song. My dude. My thoughts on Constantine Hellblazer. I've seen the movie Constantine and I thought it was all right. Don't hate it. Don't love it. I don't know enough about the character to give you guys an opinion based off of what I saw was fine, and I would watch the movie again, and I would definitely check out the books. That's it. That's all I can give you guys, just being honest. MCOC Josh, I am going to get the Spider-Man game for PS4 as long as I can play as the original Spider-Man or the black suit Spider-Man. I really care about what costume I play the game, and I hate the new suit in the game, but I don't hate the idea of the game. I don't really want to play as Mary Jane, and I definitely don't want to play as Miles Morales, so we'll see. I'll get it, but we're going to see how it goes. But when I do get it, maybe I'll do a Twitch stream or something. I can get into Twitch streaming. You guys, there's definitely an audience here for live streams and stuff like that. So why not give you what you really want? The Dark Son of Krypton 23. I'll definitely check out the quartering video. I watch the quartering stuff quite regularly ever since he appeared on the High Council. So I'll check that out. I'm getting ready to get off air here in a few minutes, so I will watch that. Juan Tarats. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. These are rolling by real fast. I wanted to read this though. Where'd it go? Crap. Spider-Man got me started in drawing and eventually made me go to art school to become a painter. Love Spider-Man. Juan, you and I are in the same boat, and I'd love to have that conversation with you one day. Superman versus Thor. Didn't Death Battle do that? Didn't Superman win? Superman would win on all that, right? I love Thor. I think Thor's better represented in film based on a percentage. Like, Thor hasn't had a bad appearance in film. Superman's had 2, 3. Superman had 2 good movies, okay? The other ones have sucked. It's not Superman the character's fault. It's the people. First off, it's the Salkinds that made these movies on the cheap after a while. Like, come on. Those people really fucked up after the first 2. So them trying to save money didn't work. But overall, Superman would beat Thor. Which version of Iron Man is my favorite? Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man is the only Iron Man to me. Comic book Iron Man's cool. The character's so different though than he used to be. He used to plug himself in. He had roller skates. Just shit like that people don't know about. So I tried to get into the early interpretations of the character. Couldn't do it. RDJ all day, every day. And yeah, I agree. These SJW asshats need to leave Stan Lee alone. He's an old man. He's a person. Remember, he's a person first. Creator of Marvel stuff second. Let's just let him enjoy whatever weeks or months he has left to live. You know he's going to be passing away by the end of this year. I honestly thought he would have died earlier after his wife died. Because him and Joan seemed, well, you can't see me crossing my fingers, but that's what I'm doing. So that's that. But yes, I did know that Superman 1 and 2 were made as one film. I have watched that documentary quite a few times. I'm a big Richard Donner fan. That'll be another person I make a thing about when he passes away. Love Richard Donner. Hope to get to meet him one day. That's one celebrity. Him and The Rock are like 1 and 2 on my list. Rock for childhood reasons, but as an adult, I respect the hell out of Richard Donner. And I'd like to talk to him about what makes a good story and just, talk to him about stuff he's worked on. He's done really good stuff, great stuff. I can't find something that he's worked on that I hate. Silver's Rayleigh 427. I have not read anything new. I have not read Green Lanterns yet. I apologize. I haven't picked up. Somebody gifted me Amazing Spider-Man number 800. So there we go. Yeah, Ernesto, if you smell, you damn right. I'm The Rock's biggest fan. I don't care what anybody tells you. It's me. Because reasons, man, I almost said Logan Michael. That's how often that name pops up. By the way, Logan Michael, we love you on the channel. This is going to be the end of this stream, so because reasons, you win. You get the last super chat of the day. Regarding Dragon Ball Super, have you checked out Geekdom 101? You should really. He's great on anything Dragon Ball. I have it written down for my June notes to check out the Geekdom 101 channel. Anything Dragon Ball. As you guys know, had this week where I had stuff to do in my personal life, and then we've been pumping out content left and right. So we've been really, really super busy. When I do sit down to watch some more stuff, Geekdom 101 is written down here. That'll be something I check out. So, because of reasons, I have not, but I do. I like me some Dragon Ball, and when the mood strikes, I will like to consume as much Dragon Ball related media as possible. Either watch the show proper, check out all this stuff. Ben, I did talk a lot about Steve Ditko in the beginning. But thank you to everyone who watched this. Let's not forget about the man, the myth, the legend that was Steve Ditko. Was he a perfect person? No. No, he was not. Like I say, I'm one of those people that believes in being warm around other people. Build up a community of people that care about you in your life. Steve Ditko went the other way. He was a private, secluded individual, and he died alone. That has no bearing on the creative work he did, but I don't know. I feel that way about Steve Ditko. When I read stuff about him, I go, "What an asshole! Like, why? Why forgo possibly millions of dollars that would be given to you for your work that you did years ago? Why live in a one-bedroom apartment and die alone? You know, what happened? I don't know. We'll never know. The story will never get out. Maybe that's the best part about Steve Ditko. We'll never know because it's too late. He's gone. He's passed away." Logan Michael, I guess you get the last super chat. Thank you very much. I will have a good one. And you guys have a good one too. Have a good weekend. Have a great weekend. Be on the lookout for the next series of videos from us. They're coming soon. I got it recorded and ready. Be excited for what's going to happen with World Class Bullshitters. I know a lot of people have been reaching out. Where are you at? Where are you at? I missed this Good Morning Pop Culture, this, that, and the other. Well, I'm back. I gave you guys a very impromptu afternoon stream, and we had a lot of fun today. I had a great time talking to you guys about everything from Ditko to other comics to Star Wars to Stan Lee, the man himself. So that's what I really enjoy about these live streams, these solo live streams, if you will, where it's just me talking to you guys. You have tons of great questions, and if I can't answer them, well, I try to answer them in a roundabout way, a different way. But I just want to tell everyone thank you who stuck with us for the last 2 hours. Jeez, where does the time go? So thank you, Ricky. Thank you to everyone. And you know what? I respect him for being his own man too. But if I was in his position, I would have taken it a much different way. So, folks, I will be back on Tuesday morning live with Good Morning Pop Culture. Don't forget, if you're in Indianapolis or the Midwest, World Class Bullshitters is going to be at Horror Hound Indianapolis in August 24th through the 26th. We'll be filming stuff. We're going to try to film some interviews with celebrities. We'll film stuff with you guys. And if you come to Star Wars Celebration, we're making a mini documentary. And you guys can be in it. You can talk about Star Wars and stuff like that. So let's just get the energy high for that, and let's keep this thing rolling. Thanks to everyone who's made this channel possible, and thanks to everyone who watched our 1 million viewed video. I'll be back in a few short days, and it's going to be a lot of fun this week. See you next time.